and how they want to represent the constituents. So it's a very a great service, and WSLM provides that. And there was a good turnout amongst the candidates, and not only local, but there were some that are running for offices that are on the ballot here in Washington County that are, they're a larger area, not just Washington County. So those some of those candidates came. So it was a great turnout, and I really believe that it's important to vote, but not only important to vote, but get educated, and that forum does help with that. So I think that's a great service that WSLM provides.
Well, and then also, like, when a lot of them, will kind of stay around and talk a little bit too, and that's a great time for the community to, if they have questions that they want to, talk to them about, or maybe explain a little about more about themselves. You have that opportunity. So it was kind of a, if you will, a come together, everybody, and meet and greet with your forum, and it was a success. It was a good night. Yeah. So thank you to all the candidates too.
Yeah.
So, and Brad, we talk about this too, and we talk about it every year, that for someone to even step out and put their name in the hat is a huge deal.
It is. It absolutely is, because it's one of those things that a lot of folks, they may have the desire or they have great ideas, but they just can't put themselves out there. And it is an ultimate leap of faith a lot of times to put yourself out there and be willing to serve your constituents and talk about your ideas, and especially in nowadays with all the social media and everything, there's a lot of stuff out there. So getting your voice heard and things like that, it's always, it can be nerve-wracking, but we always find a way in Washington County and around here to get those good candidates to come out, and so it's always a good thing. And you want more candidates, you want competitive races, and that just is better for the constituents, the voters.
Right. I think I was trying to think about this election. There's not a whole lot of newcomers. Am I thinking that? I mean, we've had some that have held offices held other offices that are kind of moving to new offices, or right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's not
most of them have been candidates of some kind before.
Right, and you're exactly right. There's really not any political newcomers. There's folks that took a break from politics and did something else, or decided that they had experience in this office and they are moving over to try to use that somewhere else. So that can be good. That can be good to have that. It's also fun though, and you and I talk about this. It's always fun to have that political newcomer that just takes the world by storm and surprises a lot of people. But it's good to have that experience as well.
Sure. Well, and I think that as far as the candidates and for those maybe being a little seasoned, it takes a lot to learn how to even be on a board, how to represent. There's a lot of learning there. No matter what books you read, no matter what any position, you're going to have to figure it out when you get in the position.
Yeah, and there's always that learning curve that you may have experience, or you may have served in voluntary boards, or in different things, but once you're not suddenly still doing it all by yourself. Once you're a candidate, and if you win in the fall, then you're working with a bunch of other people that have the same office as you. So and that learning curve can, you kind of have to catch on quick sometimes, but it's a new world. Even if you've been in the same office,
right?
You're working with people that some of the incumbents or some of the other, like say you're on the county council, there may be new county council members. You may be experienced, but then you've got a whole other group. So
right.
It's kind of like there's always a learning curve, I guess.
I think so. Hi, Tony. And keeping this place beautiful.
Yeah.
Good to see Tony. But I think that's true, and I think that sometimes that's where maybe being on another board and bringing a new I guess eyesight to the table. I mean, bringing something different, unique, and that's can be a good thing.
Yeah, and I was talking to a candidate a couple of weeks ago, and not looking past the primary, but was talking in general that. And this is a person that already is in an elected office. And they said that, the primaries and even preparing for the general is always a good time, that even as an incumbent, to talk to more people and hear, because the perspectives out amongst your constituents may have changed
Right,
drastically
exactly,
in the
yeah,
4 years or however long that you've been in office, or since the last time you did that. So it's always good to listen and to get, because we're things change rapidly.
Absolutely, yeah,
So,
right. And I think too that with you, I think too when you're talking about like change too. I mean, you're talking about too that maybe the office. I going a little further. The office itself has changed since we're in a different, since COVID.
yes.
Some of the policies, right?
Right.
Some of the things that people are doing are different. So,
That's a good point.
it's I mean, as a politician, then you might have, we've done it this way for many years, but we're doing it this way now. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and everybody in leadership, and this from Walmart when COVID hit, that everybody was trying to figure out what policies, what was best for, and everybody had different ideas, everybody had different thoughts, and everyone was trying to figure it out, I guess, if you will.
Right.
But I think that in doing that too can be a good thing.
Right. Right. And that's a great point. There's so many more, legislation has had to change to respond to things like the pandemic and even the aftermath, so to speak, of the pandemic. The world's businesses have changed, but how government has got to respond to things has changed as well. So that's a very good point. You may have already had 2 terms under your belt, but it may be a different world when you start your 3rd term or 2nd term or whatever.
Right. Well, and so again, it's going to be a big night. I actually there's some races I just can't wait to see. I'm very curious about some of these races.
Yes, I am too, and so it's.
And they were talking. If anyone who is running is listening, they're probably nervous. We're going to go a little more. So you might want to go get a soft drink at this point, because. Yeah. But you think about it. If you're running for an office, and then waiting for the results, and you've done all you can do, and then it's just that moment of what's going to happen, and then we know that like some have won by only 11 votes. Some have won by 3 or 4. I mean, right? And we've seen that.
Oh yes.
And I'm sorry, running. It's not. I mean, it's very. I guess. They're wrecking, but I think I've seen most of them out today. We did have a good day.
Yes.
As our weather, we did have a little bit of rain and a little bit of hot sun for a little bit, but we didn't have all of the cold that we've had sometimes in the primary. So
it was a good day to get out and vote, for sure.
Absolutely. No excuse on that. But I did, Stephanie Rocky, she's the early voting actually was really down, and I think it was 300 and so votes. It was not really good, and she said that was, kind of, I guess, sad. I think, I can't remember if she said 9% or 11%, but.
I really, and that surprised me a little bit. We were talking about that earlier in preparation for tonight, and as we prep.
Our desk is just full of all of our prep work. We have neon signs all behind us there with our notes. Our cue cards.
Prep's all right here, right? But anyway, when we were talking about that earlier, I think I kind of found that surprising, because I think, as pandemic and we're in endemic times, I guess, technically speaking, and things winding down, and it was a nice day. Mm-hmm. I just kind of thought that there would be a little bit more, and generally the primary, there's less voters, but I just thought this one would be a little more energized. So I was a little surprised.
I was hoping,
So maybe this afternoon, and right before the polls close.
Well, that's what she said, that the, I think it was around 9 a.m. was the surge when it really started kind of getting a little busier, and then it went back down. And then I said, well, maybe like at 4 or 5, this was early when I talked to them, it might pick back up. So I'm kind of anxious to see how it does running on that. But it is, with the getting out and voting, I mean, we had a really nice day, and they actually spoon-fed everyone before the election. I mean, they were open this past Saturday. I mean, there were so many opportunities to actually go and vote. I mean,
there was
from the mail-in to coming down on on Saturdays, or I mean, they really worked hard to make it, transparent that they are here and ready to get you to vote.
And that's so if you had any type of issues, I think the special early voting would have been something that, we're lucky to have that.
Mhm.
It doesn't go on as long as some other states, but there is still enough time early voting that, that may be, if for some reason you didn't, make it to do that, something to think about it in general.
Absolutely,
Just
yeah.
and you can call and talk to any of them here at the clerk's office, and Stephanie and her team are just amazing, and they'll get you set up. So.
And the polls are closed. We are after 6 o'clock
Closed.
right now, so we'll see when that first precinct comes in. But Brad, I do want to clear this up, and I had this discussion with a lady earlier, actually today. If you miss the primary, okay, if you're a registered voter and you miss the primary, you still can vote in the general. So,
Yes.
so please remember that. I mean, I hope you, for whatever reason, for some reason you didn't get to do it, do not be discouraged, because you can vote in the general. So.
Yes. Yes.
I remember learning that civic.
Yeah, that's right. That's
You
right.
know, remember that?
You don't get.
So you have you almost
Get
have a
booted
little
out
hall
of the
pass.
general.
You get a little hall pass
Yeah.
if you miss it, but you can
So
have
you're
another
still in the
opportunity.
general come.
Third time you'll be out.
Right, right.
Just kidding.
But the hall pass you don't get.
Okay.
We talk about this all the
Yeah,
time.
there you go. Oh, I
But
know
the
where
hall
you're going.
pass you don't
I
get
know where you're
is
going.
if you didn't vote, you
Yeah.
can't complain. You can't complain.
Right.
So, because anybody that starts a political discussion with me and talks about anything having to do with politics, my first question always is, did you vote? And if
Did
they
you vote?
say,
Yeah.
no, I did not, okay, after you vote, we'll talk.
Right.
And I don't mean that in a
No,
bad way. It's
no,
just,
right.
it's one of those things
Yeah.
that I think I think that, it's our civil duty to do that. And, we live in a country, and sometimes we take our freedoms for granted a little
Right.
bit. But there's a lot of folks that in a lot of places would love to have the opportunity to vote for that.
Right. We are very blessed. For sure.
Jeannie's the only one I'll let complain about politics, but I always know, I don't even ask for that question because I know she votes, so,
Yeah.
So I'll get her all that sometimes.
Definitely, yeah. We always, always get her. But, as far as, getting out and voting and doing that, I think, was it 18,000 that possibly we could have? I mean, that would be if everyone came out,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, it was,
Somewhere, a little bit,
right
something like
in
that.
on there, yeah.
So it's, we'll see
That's,
what it is, yeah.
Would you love to see like an 85% turnout?
Oh, I wanted to see it for the people, because I think, when you work this hard for it, and for the politicians and everybody involved, when you have people that say we come out and we're coming out because we care about you, or we care about, our community, and we want to make sure, on decisions, and sometimes just another thought, can spark a fire, a little,
Right.
the spark.
I'm sorry,
What are you doing?
I got distracted. Matt Abbott said, "Love the hat."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Matt, I have to work.
Matt,
I wanted to be here all night with him, okay?
Matt's
Look at
my
that. Okay,
one fan.
now everybody on here is
everybody
gonna
else
be
is
saying,
for you.
love the hat, love the hat. No.
Matt is the one that always makes me feel like I'm doing an okay job here. So.
Definitely.
But yeah, and we were talking before we went on the air, and it's every election I have a different hat with some sort of American flag or some sort.
I have a American flag shirt on.
Yes.
I'm too. We're trying.
It's
We're
an
trying.
excuse to buy a hat.
Well, and you don't know, those are okay. Speaking of hats, you got some really nice hats at Walmart too.
Yes, we do.
That's a great that. Which with that sun that came barreling
And
down.
when you,
When
yeah,
it-
some of us,
Some of us need a little more.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, sorry. But back to, think about if you had that large turnout, can you imagine how long, and they do a great job counting,
Oh,
and it's quick, but
yeah.
can you imagine the time it would take to process all of those votes?
Right, and as far as some of the other counties, I think Jackson County had a little bit of they got it taken care of, but they had a little bit of trouble this morning. I think they had a little bit, and that's to be expected sometimes. And when I talked to Stephanie, she said everything's been smooth here, so.
Yeah.
And I hate it for another county to have to experience that, but they're very professional. They got it all straightened out.
Well, and I think for the most part, and you very rarely hear about voting issues in the whole state of Indiana.
Right.
There's normally it's down to a science. And Stephanie and her team here, I don't think anything you can throw at them, and they'd be prepared.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. And I think just like today, they've been very busy, and I'm sure getting a lot of calls. Most people usually call on vote, where do I go to vote? How late? So these are things that we probably should know.
Our in-studio audience is out of control.
What time? they don't let me out very often. What time does the polls close? No, these are legit questions.
Yes, they are.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
And do I have to vote Republican or Democrat?
Yeah.
And do I have to show an ID?
Right.
Right? I mean, these are just
Yeah.
these are just off the top of my head.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I've not done any research 100%. I do know that the phone rings a lot here, you know, but those are probably the questions, and I'm sure they were like, you know, bring your ID.
Right.
Get there before 6.
And if you see a polling place across the street from your house, that's probably your polling
Right.
place.
And please, most of all, do not wear a "I love" and your candidate.
Your candidate shirt, yeah, absolutely. You
Or
can
on
wear
your
that
hat,
afterward,
or on
or
your
on your
hat.
hat,
Or your hat, or your beard, or
your stickers, or
your
whatever.
earrings.
Yeah.
Subliminal messages. I don't know, Brian.
Okay. That's good. We got the rules covered, right?
I feel better now.
We got that out of the way. So anyway, but
Pull it together. Okay.
okay.
All right.
So
waiting for our
we're
first
waiting. The
precinct.
polls have closed again. The polls have closed, so we're waiting on the first results to start coming in. And again, we want to thank Stephanie Rocky and the Washington County
their team
clerk,
worked very hard.
her team, and for letting us come in, and how wonderful that is. And we are going to get to talk to her at the end and for a wrap up. But so we know this is a nervous time. So
definitely.
we hope all the candidates out there feel good about how they left everything. And
Well, I think at this point, there's nothing more you can do. You've worked hard. You've done the homework. You put your name in the hat, which right there is a big step above a lot of you know so many of us.
Right.
And so you put your name in the hat. You're stepping out and you're saying to the community, I want to be a servant. I want to just be a job. And then you just sit and wait.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
for that first precinct. And usually, like, first precinct comes in, then maybe 2 and 3, or a second and third one, and then they just start kind of.
Yes.
That's
and
when
they
you
start
really
piling
start.
in. Yeah, that's when I
That's
run
when
down to half.
Yeah, we make
pencil
sure
and,
that you
we
have
make sure all
the
that. Yeah.
soft, get that soft drink going.
But yeah.
Caffeine going, yeah.
I've got 1 to 2 drinks here. Just
No
in case.
pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
So,
But anyway, so that's when, and then of course, then we'll all blow up candles and say goodnight. But I think with some of these races, it's going to be really exciting.
yes, and that's it's always good, there's some candidates that like that. They want that breathing room, but I always think it's good on election night when things are close and every precinct comes in. It can change, and like you said earlier, there's times that we've had 3 or 4 votes, separate the candidates, and that's kind of fun.
Definitely. And I was gonna say it's also, if everybody's at home right now, they usually used to, Brad, when we were younger and for the years, I've always had the courtroom full of people.
Yes.
And so this is a little something. This is maybe a new policy they might stick with. And I don't know that some people don't like it. Maybe better. Some people it's a little different, but they've also got another meeting going on here tonight. So we give a shout out. It's a CONSA meeting, and very thankful for them. And so they're getting a lot done actually.
Yeah.
While we're able to broadcast, and it's an honor to actually be a part and to get this opportunity.
Yeah, it really is, and I do enjoy the times when the courtroom is full, right to our left here. But it's also it's awesome this way too, because we're getting the results and people are joining us on Facebook Live, and so it's being broadcast, and we appreciate that. So it's pretty cool. So, but it's another example of how we've had to do things and adapt. Coming out of a pandemic, and some things will stay that way, and some things will not. But it's still a little bit nervous energy on election night.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and Matt said nice hair, by the way.
I think he's talking to you.
No, he's clearly talking to you. No,
Clearly.
he was making up for the hat comment, because I got the hat comment too.
Oh, it's making me feel good.
Yeah,
Thank you, Matt.
he
You
didn't
won't
want you
leave,
to feel
no
like
one gets left behind. Thank you. Also, Brad, if we have a lull while we wait for that first precinct, and we've talked about like how I guess everybody's ready for this moment, and this is it is very important because if you have a certain candidate to get that person, this is a stepping stone for that person to get them where if you want them the final, in the final race and crossing the finish line, you have to take this first big jump to get them there.
Yep.
So it is important, but we talked about that. We talked about how important it is to get out and vote, and then also get to know your candidates too. And we tried to the road. So I feel like everything is put a bow on it. We're done. Let's do it, right?
Yes, absolutely, and that's very important. It's if you take all the candidates together and all the hard work that they've done. There's a lot of folks that have put in a lot of hours to want to represent and to want to be servant leaders for our counties. So that's always a good thing. And yeah, there is that moment that at the end of the primary, it's just like you're done. You've left everything there. You just kind of have that decompression moment, and then you get to enjoy it for like 30 seconds, and then you got to think about the fall.
Boy, that's
I'm not
true.
rushing anything.
No, I know. That's how fast time traveling
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, it seems like it goes from one to the other. But and then once a candidate is in, then that's where everyone working together to make that office or that position make it the best it can be.
Yes, absolutely.
Be the team players.
Yes.
Everybody working together, and that's very important.
Yeah, and it's also important that the ones that if there's multiple candidates on the ballot for an office in the primary, only one is going to win. It's important for them to reach out to those folks that may not have supported those in the primary, or reach across the aisle getting ready for whichever party that you represent, getting ready for the fall election. And so the hard work starts all over again, and your pool of constituents doubles basically. Because in Indiana, you have got to, for a primary, you've got to ask for a Republican or a Democrat vote. So then once you come out of the primary, and like I said, the people you're wanting to represent, that number suddenly doubles, and the work becomes even harder. So, but again, hats off to anyone who wants to put themselves out there, who are taking the time to try to represent their constituents and try to make Washington County a better place.
Right. And I think, for anyone that thinks that the local level is not, it doesn't really matter. And that's exactly where it does matter. This is huge. Because you think about this, let's go back to when we were in COVID. Our governor had each county health department kind of do they had their own rules. And it's like if you went to, the county, another county would have a different set of rules. So those were each county, the officials that were being elected and were holding those seats are the ones who were making our decisions.
Right. And we've talked about this before, and I think we've talked about it on election coverage, but also when we've been broadcasting on the radio, and that old saying is all elections are local. And what that really means is what people remember is that candidate that did something for them. They were having trouble getting their trash collected the right way, or they live out in the county and they reached out to their county council person and said, I need help with this or whatever. The things that affect people's day-to-day life is what politics, at the end of the day, sitting around the dinner table, they talk about that, and that becomes more important than the person that's sitting on Pennsylvania Avenue, or their representative or senator or even governor. So, I think that is kind of what have you done for me lately? It's that guy. It's your go-to person. That's your first person that you address the problems to. So I think that's how all politics becomes local.
No, I think 100%. And I think that to have those conversations, and so many times things can be worked out, they can be figured out if you come together and discuss something, and you might not be 100% eye to eye, but at least you respect each other's thoughts on that.
Right. It is.
And I'm kind of this is your isn't this like your HR department here? Am I like hearing this from you?
Well, I did have someone tell me that a good HR person is kind of like a politician in some ways, but I don't know if that was good or bad. I'll think that is good.
Well,
because it's one of those things that it all goes back to, especially with the people that you vote for is they're public servants, and they're servant leaders and things like that. And so that's very vital to think about that, there are people that are in their community they see every day at whatever store that you go to, wherever you go to eat, you see those people and that becomes, there, and a lot of times, we're related in small communities. We're related to a lot of people, I mean, it's just how it is, especially if where you grew up,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so I think that's important to think about too.
So a lot going on. I've seen them actually got some precincts just coming in the door. It was like a parade. Da 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 da. We're excited about that. So they parade the first precinct, so they'll get the numbers in, and then maybe the poll workers are coming. So I guess the other filler was, if we wanted to talk about, should Kim Kardashian have worn that dress, or should she not have worn that dress, the Marilyn Monroe dress? Do you even know what I'm talking about? No. Okay.
Can we vote out the Kardashian? I don't know what you're talking about, and that's great.
She wore a Marilyn Monroe dress, and it was, I don't know if it was $5 million, something like that. It was pretty expensive. And she said that whenever they brought it to her to even look at, all the security guards were all around it, and I'm telling the story, and you don't care, yeah. Anyway, so she wore it, but she didn't wear it the whole night. As soon as she got up the stairs, she changed. And so anybody that is upset about her sitting and being a part in that, or just sitting the whole time in that dress, she changed. So, okay, now,
okay,
for some reason,
that's good.
For some reason, if that comes across your desk or something, if there's a question,
okay,
you will have some information.
I'll have the information on that, yes.
For sure.
So what you're saying is she probably, to tie this together, she probably didn't wear that to her local polling station.
No, I do not believe that. I don't, no, I don't think that dress would get out. I think security would take you down for sure on that. But I'm not sure now, Brad, you might want to try something. But I'm sure that, but anyway, that's kind of the big thing. And of course, the Johnny Depp trial, that's a whole other story.
I am enjoying. I am enjoying. He's kind of funny.
I think he's real funny, and then sometimes.
I mean, as funny as you can be in the middle of a trial like that. I think, yeah.
So you have that going on, and then of course we talked about the Derby coming up this weekend.
Yes, this
exciting,
weekend.
And what horse to pick? And have you got a horse yet?
No, I'm still deciding because I think last year's, my first choice got won last year, but is no longer the winner due to the, issues.
Yeah.
My second favorite is still running, I think.
Yeah, mine's still out there. Mine was going to come in anytime.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah.
I know he's coming.
But I enjoy Oaks Day more than Derby. I mean, I enjoy Derby, but and you always go and get to experience all of that, and that's great. Oaks Day though is that's like the locals and the lilies for the fillies, and
right.
I think that's kind of cool. So.
Yeah. And and I'm all for that too. And that's a lot of fun too. They have different drinks. Of course, they have like a special drink for that, and then of course the mint julep for the Derby. So it's kind of fun. And everybody, and they wore more pink on the on that Friday. Yeah,
and because they tie it into breast cancer awareness.
Exactly.
So so that's wonderful. Yeah,
and
they raise money for that.
Hearing a lot of our candidates already getting ready for Relay for Life, and that's awesome. Doing some fundraising. I know the hospital's going to have a plant sale this Friday.
Yes.
So that's going to be awesome, and I'm happy to hear. Still we've had some, I guess, not being able to do a lot.
Right.
But
right.
It's so important and so valuable to our community.
Oh, it is absolutely, and we're excited because with things changing to September 25th, we're going to get to go back to the full on everybody come out and participate and be a part of it, and the Survivor dinner is going to be back bigger than ever, and we're very proud of that, and fireworks and all that.
Yeah.
But the thing to import is we still had a very successful Relay for Life last year, even during the pandemic. And one thing to think about though is it was okay to change it because you got to be careful because the survivors and people that are in the struggle right now, you don't want them to get anything or be exposed to anything. So
Right.
we did great with what we did, but this year it's going to be, and our theme is surviving the journey, and we're going to celebrate everybody, not just the survivors themselves, but like the caretakers and anybody that's walking in this journey with folks. They're surviving the journey as well, and it's been tough. But we're excited about that. So
Love
that's
that.
another reason to. But they always do a great job with their plant sales. So
Yeah. So
support them.
Yeah.
They have a great team there at the hospital, and they do wonderful things to give back to the community.
Definitely. And speaking of plants, we've got some beautiful plants out there on summer. They go on sale.
Yes, we got a lot of good things on there.
Good deals, and a lot of people are starting to put their garden out, aren't they?
Yes. But someone told me that, and I'm not sure that I believe this because I've done it wrong apparently in the past. And you know how I am about loving the garden and what I do out there. But someone said you don't plant tomatoes until after May 10th.
Right. I think that's the.
And I think, well, some years I've done it before.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, and we always usually have that. I always think, okay, we're done. And then for some reason, we always have that frost or something, so it always gets me too. But you just can't hardly pass up some of these beautiful flowers. And of course, Mother's Day is this Sunday.
Yes, absolutely.
Did I just tell you that for the first time?
No,
you
I
knew?
knew that.
Okay,
I knew that.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good
Jeannie
thing.
will be happy to do
Yes,
that.
yes. And I think, so absolutely.
In that, and having it this Sunday, of course, with all the beautiful flowers and, there's so much, whether you want the cut flowers to the real flowers to the garden plants and some great perfumes and candy and pampering. I've noticed a lot of pampering.
Yeah. That's kind of,
We like that though, Yeah.
What is it you say? Every day you should live your best life.
Oh,
Pampering is part of
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. So that,
If you want to do it, do it.
Yeah. And so they've got some really nice kits, and there's some of our poll workers. Let's see if we can grab them. Steve, you guys, come back in here real quick. So we're live we're actually on the air. Was she gonna come through yet?
She's ready.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
All right, Steve. We'll just right here with us. Come on in here with us.
Get it
So,
right there. All right, Red.
yes, we're gonna put you in the middle just for a little bit. Yes, thank you.
Sure.
All right. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about how the day went, and you were at the fairgrounds.
We were at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
We had, of course, the new equipment,
Yeah.
which was a little nerve-wracking at first, but was so easy.
Oh, good.
So very, very
Good,
easy.
good.
Just follow the instructions and off and going. So to be honest with you, for us to be in within 35 minutes of polls closed,
Yeah.
and we had someone at 6 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
So it
That's
went
awesome.
very, very well.
Good. Great
Very
to hear. Great to hear. And kind of steady most of the day.
It was steady the whole day. Yeah, we had people waiting to come in when we opened, and it was steady the entire day.
Was there any kind of a thing that most people said, I'm so happy to be able to do this, or was there any kind of?
Most of the comments we had was how fast it went, because in the old days last year, you had the poll books and you had to find their name and they had to check their address
Yeah.
and they had to do this. Now you just come in, you scan your driver's license, and you're off and running.
Yeah.
And so they were thrilled to be able to come in 10 minutes and they were back out.
Yeah, yes, I noticed that. Yeah, very nice.
Very, very quick.
So did every polling place have one of those like that?
All
that's wonderful.
the way across the county now. That's what we have.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So we were first in, yes, for us. but
I
we were
know.
first in.
Look at
But,
you do the dance on the floor. Yeah.
It's only because now we're relieved.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
it's
No doubt. Well, it's been a long day. So what did your morning start off at 5?
4:30.
4:30. Okay. All right.
We were there at 4:30, and so
You were there at 4:30. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It was it's a long day, but community service is so important,
Absolutely.
and doing our civic duty is so important. And so the real struggle that the clerk's office had, because they were phenomenal, finding poll workers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I knew she was having troubles.
And that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We have lots of high school kids, especially those who are taking civics. Every single one of them should be volunteering to be a poll worker because they're getting it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's probably not called civics now, though, is it? It's probably called
I don't know. No. We talked
yeah.
about that. That was really
Any type of government
Yeah.
or civic tax.
Yeah.
needs to be that. Yeah, right. So I think I'm 100% with you on that. I think that's
It's a great experience. In fact, we had two younger ones who were with us, and
Yeah, I know you
one
did.
was
Yes,
in the government
so
class,
yeah.
and the other one was 16. As a clerk, you can be 16.
that's wonderful.
So both of them got a really good experience.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. Well, Steve, you're probably gonna go home and just drop.
No, I'm going to work on a sermon.
Okay. You need prayer. Yes. Especially after the election,
That's
we might
right.
need some
That's
more
right.
prayer. We'll know who to call. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.
All right, sure
Thanks.
thing. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Steve.
So, but you think, to be here at 4:30, so you have to, why go to bed, right?
Yeah.
Just stay up.
Just stay up all night.
Just stay up, yeah.
Just,
Yeah. So, why go to bed, and just hang with it. But as you can see, he worked the fairgrounds, and he said it was just like a steady, I guess, constant most of the day, so.
Yeah. That's good.
And did you notice that new machine? We didn't talk about that.
Oh,
Why
I
we
did
talk
notice
about
that new
I did
machine.
too, but
Yeah,
I don't know why
so,
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I did notice that new machine, and I think more than anything, it provided awkward silence because when you go through something for the first time and you're like, here's my ID, and then they're like, and you're not sure what they're doing, but all of a sudden so yeah, I did notice it, but I was like, maybe I was gonna get that happened last year too. I can't remember.
No, it's new. It's
Yeah.
new. It's new.
No, but
I'm going to say there was no awkward silence. That was me. No,
Well,
I was talking.
that was the
I hand my.
that was the one moment.
I
of
hand my
awkward silence.
I hand my card and I'm talking, and then next thing I know my card's back and I'm on,
Yeah.
and I'm giving a piece of paper. You know what I mean?
It was very quick.
Yeah, it was.
Really
Yeah,
was
really.
quick.
It was. And of course, the primary, you don't have all of the offices that we're going to have, or a presidential election, something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Right.
So, I talked to one lady and she said, now I'm going to vote whenever it's a presidential election. And I'm like, vote now.
Vote now, yeah.
We need it, everybody needs to vote now. So it's kind of like some rumors, that a lot of people are maybe, misunderstanding with elections a lot.
Yeah, and not to label anything yet, but there's
No.
a lot of misinformation.
No, we're not going to label.
No, I mean, there's
Yeah.
information about elections should not be hearsay. You should
Right. No,
always
no.
verify, trust but
Yeah.
verify
Yeah.
your neighbor if they're telling you.
Correct. No, it's true.
No,
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Or ask the person themselves, and find out and say, is this something that, is this, I was, shared, this was shared with me. Is this factor?
Right.
Good.
Ask them. So.
Yeah. So.
You're on the ballot.
Are you?
I have a couple of questions.
I want to know something.
I
need some information now, okay?
Yeah. So for those of you
What the
who are,
mama papa you doing?
for those of you who are graciously with us
Yeah.
still, we are waiting on election results, and so it was great to hear though from Steve, and a reminder of how important the civic duty is, and to get folks to help, and and if you're in and out to do something like that in 10 minutes, there's really, I can't think of any reasons not to take the time to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Very important.
So, anyway, so we'll find out, and I guess it'll tell, our numbers will tell how it goes, and and of course then going from the primary, waiting for the general, so they're going to have a long summer, on into the fall, and so I'm sure there'll be a lot of chili peppers. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a lot, and even more signs show up, right?
Yeah, there we go. More signs,
But
chili peppers, and
the end of the primary is not the end of election, right? That's just the start.
The start of it.
The big time.
Absolutely.
So to speak. So,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but
That,
and if anybody needs a judge for those chili peppers,
we are available, and we have actually, we need to put that on a resume.
yeah,
We
we have
that back.
experience.
Yeah,
We do have
pretty good on that, so.
experience.
And either the white chili or the the red chili, whichever. We're your people, and actually you're probably excited because I know when you do get those tomatoes growing, that's always my favorite from your garden is the tomato plant.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it. I mean, it's
It's Yeah.
and homemade salsa.
So now, do you have trouble with deer or bunny rabbits or anything going on?
Well, Brutus the Terrible keeps the
Okay.
bunny rabbits away. You know how he is. I don't have a lot of problems with deer, but I have some tricks up my sleeve that keeps them away. So I planted some apple trees
Okay.
over not too far from the garden, and they're just to lure the deer over there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and it works pretty well.
Definitely. Keep them busy over there. So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Very good.
But my guard attack cat.
Yes. Brutus to the rescue.
Yeah.
I think I've counted 3 or 4 precincts coming in, so I'm gonna guess that we're gonna get a bunch of
Come off.
photos, and yeah, I know, a bunch, and we'll get them read to you. I know everybody's sitting there looking, and years ago though, that when they closed the polls, a lot of times they would have supper, and then they would give out the results, and it's a lot quicker now, you know what I mean, as far as getting the results and getting them out than what it used to be.
Right. And and that's what we've talked about on past coverage. I can remember like when everything was at the courthouse and I was younger, and my grandfather, he was a poll worker, and so he enjoyed doing that, and I got to go a couple times, and there was food ready to go. Things were they had the chalkboard or the boards that they wrote things down on, and people were calling in, and that was even they kept the food tradition until the last few years, but
Yeah,
so
I think, now, was that something, as a young man watching, did you understand the value of how important what your grandfather was doing?
yeah, I think that's really where I became so. I think it's very important to be involved in the process, and volunteer and help when you can and do things. But and that was one of the things that, one of the life lessons that I can remember the most from him is that you vote, you get out and vote, and it's okay if your candidate doesn't win, you still support whoever, ultimately wins, but, that's your chance to have a voice, and that's your way to contribute is talking to your elected leaders and trying to get things better. So that's very important to do that. That's that's one of the foundations of our country is the right to vote.
Absolutely, which will be, and then that'll segue into, we'll be going into the Peak and Fourth. Think about that in July, and talking about our independence and all that, and everything. And I guess just thinking about those times of whenever you maybe reflect a little more. Than just like wearing this pin that says I voted today. So I mean that makes you feel like you did something good.
Absolutely, and and that's just like, hey, I did my part, and Memorial Weekend's coming up, so you've got that for the people that sacrificed.
Absolutely.
Make sure that we could continue to vote and have elections and have them freely and fairly.
That's Dave Brown. Hello, stranger.
How you doing?
Doing good. Come here.
Hello.
Oh yeah. He'll think. I'm gonna scoot over.
Here, no,
You're fine. Here, brother. Just kind of go over. We'll see if we can get David over here. David Brown, you just brought in your.
I'm gonna put you here.
Okay.
Right back.
You just brought in
Just
your.
go right there.
We're live.
Yeah.
You just brought in your precinct, and what precinct was that?
Howard.
Howard. And how did it turn out? How did it go?
About 19%.
Okay. That's really good. Isn't that pretty good?
For Howard, that's good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So you got, what time did you check in? 4:30, 5:30, or
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? Yeah, that's awesome. So probably pretty tired, right?
Oh, that's tired.
Well, thank you for being a poll worker and all that.
I
So
enjoyed it. Didn't have to see all you guys again.
I know.
I haven't seen you for a few years.
It's been a moment. Yeah, you look great, and appreciate you stopping by here. Usually people, whenever we wave at them, they go on by quickly. So Dave Brown, I appreciate you stopping.
Well, we see Lana all the time. She's down in our board meetings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I transferred from commissioner to town council.
Oh yeah.
Lana's down there to keep us in line.
Keep us in line. I love that.
I guess that's what you would call it. I don't know.
Well, thank you, Dave, and go get some rest. Okay. Take care.
Well, I got another meeting to pay.
There you go. Everybody's got something going. Absolutely. Yeah, that's so funny. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Good to see you too. I'm glad to hear that, Bradley. That's good
Oh,
news.
yeah.
That's so,
Yeah, because, you know, we had talked
Opportunity,
earlier and it was, the turnout earlier wasn't good, you know, so.
maybe people were waiting.
Yeah.
You know, they were just like, okay, you know, we'll wait till after we get off work. That's always like a concern, you know, if you don't, you know, if you take that chance of, oh, I'll vote later and you don't get it done, you know. So that's kind of nice to get it done that morning and you got it kind of taken care of.
Yeah, I went at lunch. It gave me an excuse really to, you know.
A lot of
take a long
places will
lunch.
do that. A lot of places, you know, will let you, you know, take a lunch and go do that or go out and vote and that's wonderful that they do.
I hope Mike didn't hear that it only took 10 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
I need a long lunch. I gotta go
Yeah,
vote.
2 hours. That line was
I had to
forever.
go on the other side of the county, you know.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Right.
So Steve was talking, he seemed to have good traffic, and he just mentioned, you know, 18 or that then hopefully the turnout's going to be than it looked earlier on.
Right. And, you know, as far as temperature and everything wonderful for that. And it was nice for the candidates too. You know, they didn't sit and freeze, you know, or completely burn up. It did get a little warm, but it was a nice day for them to be out. And I noticed they had several family members. And that's the other thing too, Bradley. Not only the candidates, but the family members that come along and help.
Oh, absolutely. But you know, election day is like any other day really in southern Indiana this time of year. If you didn't have a little bit of chilly to start out,
Yeah.
you didn't have some clouds and some rain and then some hot sun for a while, you would think you were not
Yeah,
in
where am I?
Washington
Yeah.
County, you know,
That's-
what's
yeah.
going on here. But yeah, so, and you know, we've talked about the candidates and all their hard work, but that's a very good point, you know, all the family members and all the volunteers, you know, that
Yeah.
have been spending a lot of time out there canvassing for their candidate and putting in hard work. And you know, sometimes it seems a little tough, but you know, when people believe in the cause and what their candidate is for, and you know, you always want to support your family members and things like that. So not just the candidates, there's a lot of hard work that goes into each one of these individual campaigns. So hats off to everybody.
Absolutely. And once you put your name in the hat, you know, you're on.
You're on.
Well, I mean, you know, right, there's a lot of activities going on and stuff then to do, or, you know, or to also learn about what the actual position, you know, if you've not held this position before, learn what's, you know, to be expected from this position. Or if you have held it, maybe ideas that you want to do in the future, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And getting out, you know, and everything is a growth process, and it evolves as you're talking to constituents too. You know, there's perspectives you may not have thought about, and so that's always important to think about. You know, it'd be interesting to me to talk to a first-time candidate, that what they thought they were as how they defined themselves as a candidate at the beginning, and by the time primary night comes, and after that is how they evolved as a candidate.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, I think I would have to say, just stepping out, that most people realize that you can't always do everything you want to do, you know, and there's always some, you know, with anything, there's a reason for it, but it's not always, you know, clear sometimes.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Does that?
Yeah.
Does that just make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's too, and you know, as a candidate, I think, you know, you do what you feel and you vote with your heart. You vote, you know, for your community. You vote for the people, but also you maybe sometimes will come up against, even obstacles that you might have to hurdle over to get where you want to be.
And absolutely. And then there's also issues that are going to come up that, you know, maybe you feel very strongly in one way, but your constituents feel a different way. So there's always that thing of making sure that sometimes it's not easy to represent your constituents, you know, especially when it's something that maybe, you know, you got to put your personal feelings on the back burner so you're truly representing what your constituents want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not an easy job all the time.
Not easy at all. So they've actually got, they're doing it a little different too, Brad. They're doing the paper ballots. You know, they're not doing electronic anymore. And that was a big change for us.
Because I don't think, yeah, that
I
is,
think,
that's,
because of some of the.
well, we don't, Stephanie doesn't want to get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that suddenly there's more.
Yeah, well,
More ballots
I
to
think,
get.
yeah, I think that.
I'm sorry.
Did you miss these? No, I don't, I think they just decided
Abort.
that
No.
this is the, not that they had any issues with the past, but
Right.
just to make sure, clear the mind, and if this is the safest way, then
Yes.
it's kind of like just making sure overprotecting.
Yeah. And I do like that idea of scanning the paper ballot. I guess,
Yeah.
I just was like, yeah.
It was so
And the
easy.
American flag pops up and it's
Yeah.
in the sky. So I
Yeah.
think that's cool. I think that was cool.
I missed the flag. I must have been talking.
And
Again.
that's how you knew that it registered your vote, is the American flag. And the only reason I knew that is because she explained it to me
I
when I was
did.
hearing
Mine
the thing.
said-
So she said, look for the American flag.
Mine said, go on, get out of here.
Yeah.
You got, we got you. Go. There's no flag on mine, okay? Your machine, we didn't run at the same place.
No,
Maybe,
no.
maybe that was an extra additive. Maybe there was an app.
Maybe that was.
Maybe you had an app.
Maybe
I
that
didn't
was
have
just
an app.
us
I
out
don't
in
know.
Brown and Vernon Township.
I don't know. Yeah, you're a little bit more.
We had time out.
Yeah. And God, we tried to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I did not see that. I did see that it registered, that it took it, but it didn't kick it back out.
Yeah, but you were already probably talking.
Yeah.
as
So,
you were moving.
I don't remember. I'm going to find out.
I probably wouldn't have
I-
paid attention, but literally she said, you know, as she put there, she said, look for the American flag.
Oh, so you did two hands.
Oh, absolutely.
You're so well, else did you?
And I watched it the entire way.
Okay, so here we are. So you're two, and I'm like, no way.
No, see,
Yeah,
fail safe, right? You can't get crooked.
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
this, crooked.
Yes, we will be
Just-
getting the final results.
Just helpful for the fall, just for the fall.
For the fall, on
Trust me,
how to
okay?
do it. Two
And,
hands, yeah.
and I promise you, someone out there in the fall will be like, Brad was right.
Two hands.
Two
Two
hands. In the
Right,
paper
you can
ballot,
just do
two
it with
hands.
one hand if you need
Two
to.
hands.
But, we will be reading the, yes, we will be reading the final results and making sure everybody knows. What are you laughing at over there? Is it the comment?
Someone, yeah,
Which,
our comment from.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be reading the results.
yeah, we will be reading the results. We're gonna make sure
We're
that
not
you do.
intentional.
No, we're
It's
waiting
not
for our precincts. We've seen like 3, I think, come in, but, you know, of course, then they have to go over them. And now, Brad, let's put this one also out there, reminding everybody that when we do the end, before the lights get blown out, when we do the final results, they are unofficial.
They're unofficial,
Yes, so
correct,
until the next day. right?
until the next, yes.
So they
Yes.
are unofficial, and we always want to make sure everybody understands that. And
Yes.
they stay late and they make sure
Yeah.
they go
There's a
over
certain-
everything.
yeah. There's a certain amount of time before they become official. So everything that we're giving is the unofficial results, and that's very good. And especially too, if you've got a difference of 2 to 3.
I think actually, I can't remember what year, it seemed like it did happen one time where, after they recounted and it was a different turnout. So, you know, so we just always like to make sure that everyone realizes they aren't official, but, you know, usually they're pretty accurate.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like you do want to say that you hope nothing changes, but yeah. So there's, even with the paper ballots and them getting scanned and counted that way, there's always 2 hands. Yeah, there's always, because it's the one-handed ballots. So it's-
That one hand balance is perfect, okay?
Anyway, but so they are unofficial.
I was doing
So
the
they
Girl
are
Scout pitch, I don't know. I don't know, something like that. I
I'm
don't-
dialing in on my ballot. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, it is true, and definitely making sure that everybody, you know, feels secure. And also, we are here at the Justice Center right here in Washington County. We're going to be
Yes.
bringing you the Washington County results, and as they come in, we have some really races that I cannot wait. I'm just super excited about, and I think it's going to be interesting to see.
yes.
And we've talked about that several
Yeah.
times, you know, on a lot of the races.
And we have something that is a little bit different. We have an incumbent that changed parties
Yes.
since they were
Mhm,
elected.
mhm,
So that's a change. That's something we don't see very often, but
Right.
we have an incumbent that has switched parties. So that's something a little different for us to
Yeah.
cover and talk about.
Right. So, and sometimes that happens, sometimes, and a little bit of, sometimes the party changes a little and you might,
Yep.
And then the individual changes.
Yes.
So there's a lot of factors that go into that.
Yes, and those decisions aren't made lightly.
No.
So that's something to always take into consideration.
Right. So in the primary, you hold a Republican or a Democrat ballot, or, ballot, whichever you chose. But in the general, you can go straight Democrat or Republican, or you can mix them.
Right. And, there's a lot to be, I think, I've always, and again, going back to my grandfather, when it came to the general election, he was very firmly committed to his political party. But he always was a firm believer that you shouldn't vote for a ticket. You should always.
Yay! Everybody's breaking the record. Awesome. Good turnout.
Yeah, we had about 20% in Brown Vernon.
Brown Vernon.
258 people out of, what is that? No, 258 out of 1170.
11. Oh, there you go.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
So,
Yay. We'll keep, good job. Keep up.
thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks. It's out there in my stomping ground. So
Yeah,
we're just talking
20%.
about 20% turnout out in Brown Vernon. So, way to go. That's awesome. So,
I'd love to hear
so
that.
that's good. So that's saying that based on conversations we had earlier, then it sounds like a few more people voted a little bit later than normal. We didn't have as many getting out early. So
Right. I think, to hear these numbers, I'm really happy. Of course, we'd love to hear the 100%, but that, to hear 20%, 18%, that's really good.
yeah, absolutely.
So we will take it for sure. More coming in, and of course,
It's always good when she said, we were back and everything in record time. So that's
yeah,
good.
wasn't that nice? Yeah. So, and a lot of them, well, you got to remember they get up at, I think they have to check in at 5 to be there. So I think most of them get there around 4:30 in the morning.
Long day.
Yeah. And then, they have to go back over everything and making sure get everything, ready to go. And, looks like we'll be having,
This is early voting, so you mail in ballots and in person. That's what that would be.
okay, early voting and in person. How many do we have?
We had 504 total.
504. That's wonderful. So what's the percentage of that?
That's only, we're probably looking like maybe, it's only 5% recording
5%.
right now, but,
Okay.
Okay.
so it's 504, and this is the column right here.
Awesome. Okay.
And the
All right.
recording looks a little bit different, so new machines, so
Yeah.
the format looks a little bit different than.
All right, Bradley, you want to go ahead and
Okay. All right. So these are this is our early voting, which is mail-in ballots in person early. So for United States Senator, and this is for Republican, Todd Young, he got 100% of the vote, 321 votes. He was unopposed on the ticket in the Republican primary. So United States Representative District 9, this is again on the Republican side. There were 9 candidates there. So the leader coming out of early voting was Erin Houchin with 208 votes. She got 51.23% of the vote. Second place is J. Michael Davison with 105 votes at 25.86%. And in third place would be Mike Sottrell with 10.59% at 43 votes. And 1 vote behind him is Stu Barnes Israel with 42 at 10.34%. State Senator, again, this is a Republican side. State Senator, District 47. There was 2 on the ballot here. Kevin Bainline, he got 143 votes at 38.65%. Gary Byrne got 227 votes at 61.35%. Again, this is the early voting totals in from the absentee and in-person early votes. State Representative, District 65. John Lee got 7 votes at 31.82%. Chris May, 15 votes at 68.18%. So, sorry, this is for, is this still Republican? Sorry.
Okay, I mean, this is the first
Sorry,
time.
this is the
that
first time in
we've
the new
seen
form,
this.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
So,
absolutely, no.
Jim Lucas for State Representative District 69. Jim Lucas was unopposed. He got 181 votes, 100% of the vote there. State Representative District 70, that's Karen Engelman. She was unopposed. She got 104 votes there. Judge of the Circuit Court. So this is still Republican. I apologize. So this is Larry Medlock. He was unopposed. He got 344 votes. Dustin Houchin for Judge of Superior Court 42nd Circuit, 327 votes for him. And prosecuting attorney, again on the Republican side, Tara Coates Hunt, she was unopposed, 333 votes there, 100%. County auditor, Kyra Stevenson, unopposed, 323 votes. County reporter, Terry Graves, again Republican side, 329 votes there. County sheriff, vote for 1 out of 3, and there was 3 on the ballot here. So Wayne Blevins got 74 votes with 17.96%. Brent Miller, the incumbent, 294 votes, 71.36%. And Roy Overshiner, 44 votes at 10.68%. County assessor, on the Republican side, Greg Ball got 138 votes at 36.13%. And Sherry Wingler, 244 votes, 63.87% there. She's taken about 100 vote lead in the early vote there. Todd Ewan for County Commissioner on the Republican side, District 2, he was unopposed, 318 votes there. Okay, so this is again Republican side. County Council, District 1, Gerald Fleming was up against Ryan Watson, and Gerald Fleming got 68 votes for 55.74% of the vote. Ryan Watson, 54 votes at 44.26%.
So what, they're 55 and 54? Or,
No, 55%
Oh,
at
sorry.
68 votes. So Gerald Fleming has a 14 vote lead in the early voting there. So that's still high, that's close. But their percentages are really close, so that's good. County Council for District 2, there's 3 on the ballot there. Tanya Marshall, she got 39 votes at 55.71%. Chuck McKillop at 5 votes, 7.14%, and Joe Walker Jr., 26 votes at 37.14. So a difference of 13 votes there. This is the early voting, and that again is Republican County Council District 2. County Council District 3, Preston Shell was unopposed, 82 votes, 100% of the votes there. County Council member for District 4, Karen Wishmeyer, unopposed. She got 72 votes there. And Township Trustee for Brown Township, there's 1 there, Sue Bennett, 4 absentee votes, and she got all of the votes there. Township Board Member, Brown Township, there's no more than 3, but there was only 1 candidate on there, Randy Roberts. He got 3 votes for 100% there. Township Trustee, Franklin Township, and this Stephen Anderson was unopposed. He got 12 votes. Township Board Member, Franklin Township, there was 2 on here. Scott Applegate with 9 votes, and Rhodes Metters with 11. So 2-point vote there in the early margin there in the early voting. And Rachel Wishmeyer for Township Trustee, Gibson Township, only 1 on the ballot, 5 votes there. And Township Board Member, Howard Township, Sheila Stone, 11 votes there. Township Trustee, Jackson Township, Matthew Incantalupo, sorry if I got that wrong, unopposed, 24 votes. Township Board Member, Jackson Township, William Craig Martin, 23, unopposed there. Township Trustee, Jefferson Township, Andrew Knapp, unopposed, 6 there. Township Board Member, and there's 3 that you're allowed to vote for, and there was 3 on the ballot. Jamie Bennett with 5, Jason Linscott with 3, and Shannon Sullivan with 5. Township Trustee, Madison Township, vote for 1 only again also. That's Lee Batcher. He was the only one on the ballot. Township Board Member, Madison Township, 3 candidates, but there's only 2 on the ballot. Ryan Blevins with 1 vote, and Sharon Dennis with 1 vote. Township Trustee, there was 2 people on the ballot. Jennifer Bowers with 4, and Amy Cornett with 4. So that's a vote. So they're in a tie right now at this time. Township Trustee for Pierce Township, there's 2 on the ballot. It's a vote for 1 as far as the winner there. Jeff Clem has 19 votes, and Brenna LeDuc has 19 votes. So they're also there. So this is, again, the early voting, okay? So Township Member Board.
a lot of races, just like,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, it's like, well,
Yeah.
so I like those ones. Neck and neck, okay? The township board
You're
member,
real
I am for Pierce Township. You vote for 3, but there's only 3 on the ballot. Scott Miller, 22 votes, Jeffrey Pickrell, 25, and Stephen Purley with 30. So that's top to bottom, it's an 8 vote difference. So there. Township trustee for Polk Township. Cameron Stahl, there's 2 on the ballot here. Cameron Stahl has 25 votes, and he has a 2.2 vote lead over Claire Sullivan with 23. Township board member Polk Township, and there's 3 that will come out of this, and there's 5 on the list. So first place, Jeremy Souter with 36 votes. Second was David R. Hurst with 23 votes, and Eric N. Albertson has 22. But there's still other. Joseph Bagshaw had 18, and Tim Combs had 11. So that's a tight race there, and there's 5 candidates on that. So third place from fourth place is only 3 votes. So it's pretty good.
Okay, that's close.
So township trustee for Posey Township. Ken Armstrong has 10 votes to Kayla Davison's 2 votes. Township board member for Posey Township, Marvin Butch Jenks has 4, and Tara Lehman has 8. Township trustee, Washington Township, Joshua Anderson, only 1 on there, 169 votes. Township board member, Washington Township, there's 3 that will come out of this. The top vote getters were Norman Souter with 131, Randy Bills with 127, D. Jack Mahurin with 101, and Bruce Snyder is at 94. Still a close race from 3rd to 4th on there. So top 3 come out of that race. Republican state delegate, you get 9 state delegates. So let's look at the highest numbers. We have Aaron Houchin with 254. J. Michael Davison with 231. Stephanie Rocky with 218. Dustin Houchin with 212. And you have Tara Coates with 194. And then you have Randy Bills with 156. And then you have 2, Jason Cockrell and Keely Stingle at 143. No, 3. And John Meat, 3 for 3-way tie at 143. And then you've got Nathan Bills with 119 and Emily Cockrell with 113 on that.
Love that.
United States Senator, and this would be on the Democrats. I think we're getting into Democrats, right?
Okay.
Yes. United States Senator Thomas McDermott is the only one on the ballot on the Republican side there, or the Democrat side, and he had 77 votes. United States Representative District 9, Democrat, House of Representatives. You have Matthew Fife with 60 votes, Isaac Asari with 15, and Liam Doris with 10. And State Representative District 65, the only person on the ballot, Kevin Goodman with 11 votes. District 69, Chad Harmon with 40 votes. And State Representative District 70, Jason Szymanski with 32 votes. Again, on the Democrat side. On the county sheriff, there's only 1 on the ballot with John Jack Jeffries. He got 81 votes. Township board member, Brown Township. 3 would normally come out of there, but there's only 2 on the ballot. Gary Chasteen with 1 vote, and Thomas Guthrie with 1 vote. Township board member, Gibson Township. Dorothy Fleener had 4. Steve Johnson had 5, and Nathan Robinson had 5. And all 3 will go into the general and that board member seat. And township trustee, Howard Township, Kathleen Zelovitz, 3. And township board member, Howard Township, again, this is on the Democratic side, David Duff Jr., 3 votes, and Earlene Silverthorne, 3. So we got another close tie race there. Township board member for Jackson Township, Roy Dick with 6, William Yates with 7. So they're close there. Yeah. And township trustee, Marnie Bennett was unopposed in Jefferson Township. And township board member, Madison Township, Tammy Worley was unopposed. And township board member, Posey Township, Jerome Jacoby was unopposed in Posey Township on the Democratic side.
Woo, Bradley, go. Okay. That was all early voting.
All early voting. Yeah. So whether that was absentee or early in person.
In person, yeah. So there we go. So wow, that was a lot. We've got a big county.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of ground to cover there.
So
And it's going to be, but if they keep rolling in like that and keep going pretty fast, you know.
that's This new form is kind of it. There's probably on there somewhere, but I had trouble deciding. It's just we knew who was on the Republican side or the Democrat
Right,
side.
right.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I think our locals in the early voting, our local folks did well in the U.S. House race in District 9. So that's a takeaway
Yes,
from that.
those are two, that actually, are,
They
live here in this community,
Yeah.
and so I definitely thought their numbers would be,
you'd want to build a big numbers on your home turf, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
exactly. So
so
we will be bringing in the different, we'll be giving out the information for the all of the whole election until the last precinct of the night, and looks like it's going to be pretty close. And broadly, look at that. Some of these are going to be extremely close.
yeah, it's there's a lot of ties and a lot within 2 or 3 votes.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I not so much. It's a little more, I guess, on edge too, and that's where every precinct, matters, and every precinct is important.
Yes.
You'll have some precincts where some were real strong in, and others were another precinct was really strong.
And I think anybody that says, oh, every vote doesn't count, they've never been in a race that's either won or lost by
Right.
one vote,
Yeah.
or 2 or whatever.
Mhm.
So I think that's important too. It's kind of interesting.
Well, and it's good as a precinct there. It's it shows a lot of that that you care, and shows that you're committed to this community.
Yeah. So it looks like, if you're looking at the numbers here and just kind of running through, give some analysis here. It was interesting that there's 9 or 10 candidates for state representative in District 9 on the Republican side, but there's only 3 on the Democrat side, and it looks like just by the early voting there was a lot more Republican early voters
Right.
than Democrats. And
Yeah.
this is just Washington County, and this is just the early vote here.
Right.
But
So now, and then also, like for sheriff, there were 3 that came out for the Republican and only 1 for the Democrat.
yes, yeah. And so, basically, the Democrat, if you're unopposed, that means you're going to, go into the general in the fall. But I think sometimes you don't want to, sometimes it's better not to be unopposed in the primary, because you kind of have to,
Yeah.
you want to work hard even through that. You don't want to just automatically coast into the fall and
Right.
think you can coast through the general. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I just thought that was interesting that so many more, just by this, there's a larger number for the bigger races, there was a larger number of early Republican ballots than Democrat.
Definitely. So, and again, they opened it up on Saturdays. That they stayed later to the week. They had all kinds of hours, and I believe in lunch hours. They had tried to accommodate everyone to make sure that everyone could get out and vote. Of course, today, there are some that are really, that do not want to do the early. They want to do it on that day.
Yeah.
It's kind of a routine.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tradition, if you will, that you do, and maybe do it around, either before supper or, then go have supper or.
Right, and I'm kind of that way. I like to vote on election day,
Mhm.
I just do. So, but
Yeah. And of course, getting that first start, your first election, you remember how scary it was.
yes,
When you're trying to get your head wrapped around it and you're trying to understand how somewhat it works, but, you go there and you're still a little nervous, or I was.
no, yeah, I was too, and I think the first, it was interesting to me because the first presidential election I voted in, it's like my candidate won, but it's like, did I help or
Did I do
did I do that?
Well,
It's
yes,
just kind
I
of
did
interesting,
that,
and then
yeah.
you're like, oh, hey, yeah, that was my candidate.
Well,
Hey, I'm the new important voter here. So.
I made a difference.
I made a difference.
But everyone does make a
Yeah.
difference,
They do,
So,
yeah.
so if that's your story, stick to it there, bud.
Yeah.
But so I think too, and I think in schools and getting everyone, the young, we can start when you're able to vote, to get out and vote and be a big part. I think that's important, and it's an important part of your community.
Yeah, absolutely. absolutely. And I think that we're,
Is there, how many precincts are there? Are there 22 or 4? Is it 20? And I should know this.
well, this is saying 2 of 40, but like the early voting counts as a precinct.
Oh, maybe I'm,
Yeah, so I thought there was 20 something, but
yeah.
we'll find out. We'll
We'll stay
get
here.
clear.
We'll stay here till number 50 hits.
We'll get our,
We don't know, you know what I mean?
until we get like 40 of 40.
Brad,
40
it's
of
time to
40.
go
So
home.
we'll count.
You have done every
you know,
precinct.
paper.
You'll be
The paper says, so when we
Yeah.
get to 40 of 40,
40
their
or
new
40.
papers.
Yeah,
so,
whenever, yeah. So when they start blowing out the lights and, someone starts sweeping the floor, it's time to go home, okay? We have read the last precinct.
Right. So in the early voting, 504 voters took advantage of the early voting.
Which is up because, I think it was yesterday or so when I was talking to Stephanie, I think, she said it was only like 300, so, or maybe it was the day before, but anyway, but it was, I know, earlier in the week, so, of course, today's just Tuesday, so it had to be last week, right? Straight, yeah. I know it's accurate at some point.
I mean,
It's one of those days.
it's been in the past few months.
It's been one of those days, okay? But anyway, so I mean, it's good to hear that our voters did get out and do some early voting, but let's focus on today.
Yes, absolutely.
So again, Brad Gilbert and Becky White here. We are here live at the Justice Center here in Washington County, and we're going to be bringing you all of the Washington County numbers and news and information about the election, the primary election here for Washington County.
Yeah,
Exciting.
so it is exciting. It's kind of funny. So like we're always excited, and there's that lull until it starts coming in, and then the absentee stuff and the early votings come in, and then
Yeah.
we're ready, and we're gonna be like, oh, and then all of a sudden when it comes, the gates open.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
So maybe we should, and if you read them or I read them, maybe we should hit the contested race.
yeah, that's what that's what
Yeah, 21 precincts, okay, that's, okay. I thought we
Pretty
were,
sure.
yeah.
Safe.
40, it says 40 on Brad's paper,
Yeah.
but what county are you in, Brad?
I just read the paper. I
Yeah.
just read it. I promise.
No, I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
but
I
anyway.
thought it was 20 something, but
It's
it's
21.
21, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's
The
good.
legal limit.
The
right?
legal.
I'm trying to give you little cues so you could remember this, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good point. So we'll probably hit the highlights of the contested races.
Yeah, just hit
and
the,
that's,
yes.
That's
yeah.
where we'll probably.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
For
gonna
those who
come
are
fast and
uncontested,
furious.
Brad and I think we can pretty well say you got it.
Yeah, and we will, of course,
Oh, we'll
periodically
we will tell
give
your
a wrap
numbers.
up.
Yeah, we'll give your
We'll
numbers.
give the numbers and stuff.
We're not going to forget your numbers. But that's something, and that's something for, if you do, let's say in the primary, you're running uncontested, and you are going to be running against someone in the fall, for the general, it's kind of nice to know your numbers to see, where you're at.
And unless you go,
There's a turn in
there's
this.
a lot, the turnout on the other side was a little more. So that's a good thing because it'll show how much work you got to do,
Right, and that's
regardless of
exactly right, absolutely.
which party you're in and where you end up. So
Right,
that's good.
And I heard a politician say, and you never know when I say that. What is she gonna say? I heard one say that, what is so
It's like a dad joke, a mom joke.
it was,
Heard politicians say.
I don't even know. I don't even remember. Give me the lead line again.
I heard a politician say
No. What you were talking about, I'm sorry.
about the work you do, whether either side or how many people voted on the other side. That was what we were talking about.
I can't bring it up, I'm sorry.
Something about the work you have to do against the other person or the people that didn't vote for you.
Oh, yeah, that's. I'm sorry. We're good, slap happy in here. Yeah, so, and I can't even say it. You gotta change something.
Okay. All right. So again, 5% of the vote in, which is all early and absentee. So that's good. We had a total of 504 early ballots cast.
Right.
So,
So I was gonna say that, I had a thought, I really did. I don't, we'll come back to it later. We'll get to the time. I know, when's that first precinct coming in? And this will be, coming in soon. And of course, kind of going back over, the polls closed at 6 p.m. and they opened at 6 a.m., 6 to 6. You got a 12-hour, window of opportunity to get out and vote. And hope, and it looks like our people did it. I mean, that's awesome for our community.
And that's,
We hope every precinct.
Brown and Vernon's reporting right around 20% turnout, so that's good. And then Steve, and he was talking about their precinct, and Dave Brown, and they both talked about having good traffic and good turnout. So
Right.
Dave Brown said about 18, 19, and then Steve didn't get a number, but he said, I can remember, but he said that, they had good turnout too. So that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I know what I was gonna say, is that if you, when you run, if someone doesn't vote for you, or, then that's your opportunity to win them over, so to speak, or get to know them, or to explain how you feel, and, might not be the exact same, but everybody respects each other. So that gives you an opportunity, and I heard a politician say that he, on the ones that didn't vote for me, I'm really gonna try to win them over and show that I am, or was the best candidate.
Right. And at the end of the day, they're representing even the people that didn't vote.
Yes,
for
yeah,
them. So,
they pay taxes, they
that's
do what we do, too, so, it's important for them too, to make good decisions.
Yeah, and that's a good opportunity for someone who, you can get your message out even more by trying to talk to the folks that maybe you're not in your party, or maybe didn't vote for you in the primary, but you ended up getting, winning and going through the general. So that's important. I think that's important.
Right. Well, and so, these are things for our candidates to work on, and I guess goals too. And of course, a lot of them actually, I noticed at the forum, a lot of them had talked about what they want to do, and some, and most of them, well, not most of them, all of them were very respectful to the person already holding the office.
Yes.
All of them were very respectful for that. But of course, when you get in office, you might, take a little bit of what that person, previously had done, but you, of course, are going to make it your own. You're going to do, the way, what you want to do.
And that's the, I think
Do it your way.
that's the good thing,
Uh-huh.
to have choices of, not every candidate's identical.
Right.
And that's important. I think that's very important.
Or if you are already in that position and you stay in that position, you have goals, that you want to see, to be carried out. So here we go.
More.
How many precincts is this?
This is Jackson. Yeah, they run a little bit different with the new machines, these reports. So you will find that the Republican candidates are first, and then it'll lead into the Democratic positions.
Right. And there's 21 precincts.
There's 20, because 21 are central count.
Okay.
So the 20, so there's actually 20 that's out,
Okay.
outside of our
Okay.
location.
So we will stay here for 40.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
those are
See, look.
covered quickly.
Yeah.
20 of 40.
There we go.
That's it.
Okay.
promise.
I know he does. He
Okay.
does say it.
So, Jackson Township, on the Republican
Just
side.
put you over here a little bit.
So you guys can look at the top of my hat while I'm giving this right. So, in the U.S. Representatives District 9, Aaron Houchin with 20 votes, and Mike Sadler with 3, and Stu Barnes Israel with 3. They're the only ones in that race that got any votes. No, I'm sorry. That was absentee for Jackson Township. Sorry. For voting on Election Day, Aaron Houchin got 108 votes, Mike Sadrell 33, Stu Barnes Israel with 29, J. Michael Davison with 13. So for the total, Aaron Houchin has 128, Mike Sadrell with 36, Stu Barnes Israel, the military officer with 32, and J. Michael Davison with 13. State senator, it is, there's 2 in this race. So on today's vote, Gary Byrne with 127, Kevin Bainline with 56. So their total is 145 for Gary Byrne to 60 for Kevin Bainline. in the Washington County Sheriff, and these are the contested races that
Right.
we're talking about. On the Republican side in Jackson Township, Wayne Blevins with 39, Brent Miller with 137, Roy Overshiner with 8, so counting absentees, so it's a total of 40 for Wayne Blevins, Brent Miller with 159, and Roy Overshiner with a total of 11. In County Assessor on Republican in Jackson Township, Sherry Wingler has 105 votes to Gregory Ball's 80 votes, so she's opened up a 25 vote lead there. In Jackson County Council, Jackson Township County Council District 2, Tanya Marshall has 103 votes, Chuck McKillop with 18, and Joe Walker with 33. So she's opened up about 100 vote lead there. For the state convention delegate, the top voter getter, I'm just going to give, it's 9, but I'm just going to give the top 5 right now, okay? So Aaron Houchin has 151. Tara Coates Hunt with 89. Andrew J. Davison with 68. Jason Cockrell has 66, and John Meade has 67. So on the Democratic side, in Jackson Township, in District 9, U.S. District 9, Matthew Fife has 13 votes. Isaac Asari has 8, and Liam Doris has 5. Again, that's the contested votes. And those are the contested races coming out of Jackson Township for counting in the absence.
Does it have any of the numbers for Jackson County? I mean, like for Jackson, not Jackson County, Jackson Township. Does it have any of the how many voted or?
Oh,
Sometimes.
yeah, right now. Well, there's, as of right now, there's 1,929 registered voters, and there's 219 voted, cast ballots.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's always interesting too. Yeah.
So
I know. So.
the new forms are a little bit different, so they're in different
Well,
places.
and
So,
yeah, no, it is. That's a little more difficult. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was just different than what. Now this is our first precinct in.
Yes, our first precinct. So after one precinct, and counting the early voting, Erin Houchin has extended her lead for U.S. House District 9, and Mike Sodrell, and but Stu Barnes Israel is after this precinct. Stu Barnes Israel has come in, and he's getting close to Mike Sodrell there.
Yeah.
And on the Republican side for sheriff, that's the contested race. Brent Miller has opened up about 119 vote after the first precinct that's in there. And Sherry Wingler for county assessor on the Republican side has a 25 vote advantage there. So
Right. So I think it's it's very interesting, and it's in our first precinct in, and we've got 19 more to go.
yeah, so it's good to see that on the Democrat side, on the sheriff, that's not sheriff, it's not contested, but on the Democrat side in District House 9 race, Democrats are still close there, and it is contested.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a large field as on the Republican side, but those are closer. So whereas, like I said, Aaron Houchin has opened up the lead, but Mike Sodrell and Stu Barnes is really close.
Right. And we know we see more precincts even coming in, and people are leaving. They're checking. I mean, it's a process too.
Yes.
They have to stay and make sure for all of the poll workers to when they turn in, when they stay around and make sure, I believe. And then once they get the green light, then they can head off. And obviously, most of them have got other things they're doing tonight.
Yeah, that's true. I was a little excited when I first saw the ones come in because the bags that they're carrying them in looked like pizza.
I know. I thought that too. I had that moment too.
Pizza.
I had that moment too, and then I
thought
realized
that
what it
good.
was. Yeah,
So,
I have to agree with you on that.
yeah, so
Well, usually we start whining about needing pie, but anyway,
Right.
we haven't
That's
got
true.
we haven't
That's
got
true.
that.
Yeah, we haven't
We're
done that yet. So, but yeah, so it's the night's still early, and again, it looks like if you're looking at Again, the Republicans, as far as, because, we've talked about it, in the primaries, you've got to declare whether you want a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot.
Right.
And it looks like the Republican ballots have, almost tripled in Jackson Township as of right now, the Democrat ballots. So the numbers are a little bit, they're still close for the Democrats, but as far as some of those races are contested closely, but there's just not been as many votes because there's more Republican ballots in Jackson Township and in the early voting that were requested.
Right. So it's very, very interesting, and for anybody, taking numbers and following all of this, I mean, it really, it's very interesting to see and to find out,
Right. So it really is, and it's amazing though that even with the paper ballots that it's amazing with the paper ballots that with this new system, we mentioned the driver's license and how quickly that is, but even with these paper ballots on machines, and it's still they've got it down to a science, and the counting of them is really going really well. And again, these are unofficial results. The official results won't be official until tomorrow.
And something else too, they've actually taken some of the polling locations and actually, brought them together so that we didn't have so many polling spots.
Yes.
And a lot of people say they like that better because of course on the clerk's, on her, works good for her because she'll have to have as many, another area open there.
Right.
As many workers.
And that does save the county and
Save
the
money.
state a lot of money as far as that goes too.
And then for some, they like to, they said that gas is just kind of sometimes having one central location is easier. So.
And it makes it makes the ballots more safe. You think about that, you don't have them coming from so many satellite places, they're more easily controlled. Not that they're not in multiple places, but it's just, again, another thing that makes it a lot easier. So anyway.
So it might be just smooth, and we might just say goodnight. And do want to remind everybody we'll be tomorrow morning up and at 'em, and we will be on Coffee Club tomorrow morning.
Yes, we'll be on Coffee Club with the wrap
this is
up.
going to be fun. We'll be giving a wrap up, and we also have Education Wednesday, and we're going to be hearing from Salem's own Matt Gorman.
There you go. Yeah.
He does a great job. He's a custodian, and we'll find out about that, and then he'll give us some wonderful tips of how they keep that school so clean.
Yes. I'll tell you, they take great care of the facilities. It's like it's always awesome to walk into a place, and be like, wow, this is just amazing.
And if you go in the summer, when school is out, there's so much stuff that they do. I mean, like ripping up carpet, cleaning floors, dusting behind everything. There's it looks like my living room after I clean, and then of course then you put it all back.
You got to make a mess to clean up a mess.
I love that. So when you
I just make the mess. I don't clean up.
we have a teenager too. We're not going to talk about that. Yeah. So anyway, so with that though, there's a lot that goes on that when the children are not there, that they can actually get in those rooms and do some cleaning.
So there's summer vacation. It's not a summer vacation.
I think they work just very, very hard on their summer vacation. So anyway, it's exciting, and not much longer. School will be out, and of course we have Mother's Day this Sunday. We have the Derby this Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
Friday the Oaks, and then we'll be shooting up the Indianapolis 500. That's exciting. Racing. Yeah.
In that Memorial weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be, got to kiss the brick. No, that's the brickyard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Drink the milk for anybody.
Drink the milk, and that's a whole nother. That's pretty cool too. And the stories on that. So we'll talk about all that, and a lot of great activity. And of course, out here when you live in the Kentuckiana area, you get a little bit of both.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, there's proms coming up, and prom this weekend, and so we have got several girls that said yes to the prom dress early in the spring,
That's a great
will be absolutely gorgeous. So you talk about beautiful Cinderellas, we'll have all around.
Yeah, that's great, and that's a good thing to you don't turn anybody away. Anybody that needs, and it's not just a dress. You do a lot of other additional things to go with that.
Yes.
So that's a great thing. But you think about it. I mean, I know Easter came later this year, so Easter went into Mother's Day, and we just now it's boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
And then we're gonna look up, and it's just like, oh wait, it's almost got that little lull before 4th of July.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you know how I am about summer already.
I know you've been ready.
Yeah.
I think January 1.
Just,
All right, is it summer yet?
I just look out the back door longingly at the pool.
I'm singing always summer.
Why do I not live in Florida?
Florida.
Wait,
Because you have a
I live
brother.
here.
But you have a brother,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
so I can go there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't have all that greatness in one state, So he takes Florida, you got Indiana here, so.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good. But as far as the, as far as, the state and the way, everything is with Easter, it's amazing how just, everything seems like it's running together. But on the prom dresses, getting all the girls, getting them, in their dresses and getting them taken care of has been such a blessing. And this, when we did this year, it's happened before, and when the girl walks in and she's got the dress on and just absolutely gorgeous, and then the mom is breaking down bawling, like, oh,
The dads are cleaning their guns.
They're not at our event doing that, but I'm sure
No, I'm
they're
talking about
I was
prom
gonna
night,
say.
when they show up. When the guy shows up and sees the girl, after the mom's out. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, to see.
No, that in
No,
all
it's a
seriousness,
special
it's
moment.
like
No.
it is a wonderful thing because it's like, and it's good that when the girls don't, you don't get turned away and you have that magical thing.
Oh, yeah,
and-
definitely. And they're beautiful
always
anyway.
good.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful girls, beautiful teenagers that come, and here you are. If they can save some money on the dress, because the dress, you just wear, for the night, and just like tux, usually you rent those.
Yeah.
But on the dress, you're in usually purchasing it. So it's a blessing when you can be given a dress, then you can spend the money on something else or save your money, whatever.
I have noticed though, like how everything comes in a cycle. A lot of the tuxes look like Beetlejuice tuxes.
They do.
And
Yeah,
we're back to the 70s.
Well, someone said like the Pee Wee Herman. Remember?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what's this thing about no socks with dress shoes?
Oh,
The dress
that's,
shoes
yeah.
with no socks.
It's
I don't
back,
get it.
yeah.
I don't get it.
If I see someone Pee Wee
I'm old.
Herman,
They're because you're old.
no, they're back. Well, that was the Don Johnson. Now hang on, you're a fan of that.
I totally can.
You like the sports
I
act.
can do the
From
sport
time
jacket
to time.
and the
Yes, yes.
Florida shirt, t-shirt.
And they're not wearing any socks.
Yeah.
Sadly. Don Johnson did not wear socks.
I know.
I don't. I believe.
Yeah. No, they did, but
Yeah.
that's
And his friend Tubbs. Tubbs did not wear them either. Or did he? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was
Anyway.
kind of the oversized jacket.
Thanks for everybody tuning in for primary 2022, and we're waiting, we're
Yeah,
in between. So
Definitely.
we've got one precinct in the early vote in, and so and we've been hearing from
Here we
here she
come.
comes.
Saved by
Stephanie. She's like,
Yeah.
Or a copier went down, I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
No, we can't have that.
This is Howard.
Okay, Howard.
okay.
Of course, the Republicans are first on the list, and then it goes into the Democrats.
All right. So this is for Howard Township, and we're gonna highlight the.
Perfect.
We're gonna highlight the contested races first.
And
Washington won. Okay, so we got two. So we're gonna get through here. All right. So I'm a Republican for U.S. Representative District 9. This is again Howard Township. Aaron Houchin with 80 votes, and J. Michael Davison with 20, and Mike Sodrell. Thank you. Got a third one in. See, they're rolling in with 13. So on state senator for Republican District 47, Gary Burns 75, and Kevin Bainline with 46. For county sheriff Republican in Howard Township, Wayne Blevins with 32 votes, and Brent Miller with 93, and Roy Overshiner with 13. For county assessor, this is a contested race in our Republican side, Howard Township. Gregory Ball has 36 votes and Sherry Wingler has 86. For county council, District 2 on the Republican side, Joe Walker with 94 votes, Chuck McKillop with 8, and Tanya Marshall with 24. For Democrat side, Howard Township, U.S. Representative District 9, Matthew Fife with 14, Liam Doris with 6. That's again the contested race for House Representative District 9, and that's the contested races for Howard Township.
Awesome.
Okay.
So 2 precincts, now ready for our 3rd precinct.
All right. This is Washington 1, and we're going to start on the Republican side for U.S. House of Representatives District 9. Aaron Houchin with 106 votes, Mike Sodrell with 31, J. Michael Davison with 30, and Stu Barnes Israel with 25. State Senator District 47, again, Washington Township 1, Republican side, Gary Byrne with 124, and Kevin Bainline with 67. Washington County Sheriff, Republican, Brent Miller with 169 votes, Wayne Blevins with 29, Roy Overshiner with 14. And in the county assessor race, again, contested races, Greg Ball with 65 and Sherry Wingler with 140. So County Council District 1 in Republican, a contested race, Ryan Watson with 101, Gerald Fleming with 5. Township Board for Washington Township, Washington 1, 3 candidates. Randy Bills with 123 votes, Norman Souter with 118, Bruce Snyder with 117, Pete Jack McHeron with 103. And District 9 on the Democrat side, in Washington 1, it is Matthew Fife with 12, Liam Doris with 4, and Isaac Asari with 4. Okay. Washington 1. So that's the 3rd precinct there.
Now 4 precincts.
Okay, this is Brown Township on the Republican side for U.S. State Representative District 9. Top vote getters were Aaron Houchin with 98, Mike Sodrell with 8, J. Michael Davison with 14, and Stu Barnes Israel with 12. That's the contested race there. For Washington County Sheriff in Brown Township, Republican side, Brent Miller with 88 votes, Wayne Blevins with 46, and Roy Overshiner with 7. For County Assessor on Republican side, Gregory Ball with 40, and Sherry Wingler with 86. So she continues to increase her lead there. I think I have one more county commissioner or county council race that I didn't talk about. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. State Representative for District 65 on the Republican side. Chris May with 89 and John Lee with 28 votes there. And for U.S. Representative District 9 on the Democrat side in Brown Township, Matthew Fife with 11, Doris has 5, and Isaac Asari has 3. So that was the contested races in Brown Township. That's the 4th precinct report.
And we knew, we always kind of, it kind of goes that way where it takes just a little bit for it to actually kick. And then once the floodgates open, look out, they start coming in. And so, of course, our precincts, that we've heard a lot of our poll workers say it was so easy and just everything went smooth. And that's what we like to have, I like to have that and actually have early nights where it used to years ago, it would be late, before.
Right.
Before you could actually get out of the courthouse. And of course, now it's at the Justice Center. We're here tonight broadcasting live on WSLM AM 1220 FM 97.9. Brad Gilbert and Becky White. And
I was just going to try to get a running total on some
go right
races.
ahead. Wow. Okay.
If I'm not just some estimates here.
And of course, our early voting, we had like 500 or so, was it 500, a little over 500?
Yeah, 504 votes in the early voting.
And remember that tomorrow morning on Coffee Club, we'll do a little bit more wrap up of the races, if there's any new information, and just kind of talk about that, and then put the election to bed and get ready for Education Wednesday.
Yeah. So after the 4 precincts and the early voting, it looks like Aaron Houchin has opened up a lead in the U.S. House race for District 9, but on the Republican side, incumbent Brent Miller has about a 200 vote lead after those 4 precincts, roughly in there. So that's what we're looking at there through those 4 precincts. Precincts we have Jackson Township is in, Howard Township, Washington 1, and Brown Township, and then the early voting. So 4 precincts and early voting. So
bring them on, right?
Right.
Bring them on, yeah, bring on the precincts for sure.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's exciting, and it's exciting because I think on some of these races, when you talk to, some, it's very interesting,
Yes. Yeah. And it seems that, I think that it looks like the turnout ended up being a little bit better than we thought earlier was going on, and so that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
So for a primary especially, so.
That's a big positive for sure. Well, and as far as the candidates and their attitudes to each other, that was something that I was very impressed at when we had our forums. Everybody was very cordial, everybody was polite, and everyone said good luck, So I thought that was nice,
Yeah, and that's, and people pay attention to that.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm one of those that if I go to something like that, in which I hated to miss this year's, but at a board meeting I couldn't, change, and so I had to get, but I am one of those that watch to see how they interact afterward. I'm always one to pay attention to that, so.
Well,
And it also says a lot to me for the candidates that take the time to come, especially the ones that are far away.
And you have to, and you're going to be working with them. You're in the community with them. You're going to be at the store with them. You're going to be at events with them, So it's important to everybody, and everybody working together to be so much stronger, in the community.
Absolutely.
And, so it's important for everyone to have that, and to celebrate for sure.
Yeah. I once had this wise man tell me, not a politician.
No,
Not the politicians are wise,
Yeah.
But
No,
earlier,
yeah,
I had
right.
this
No, I got it.
Yeah. So I did it. So it's always easier to be gracious.
I thought that was a joke.
It's
I don't
easier-
think you were leading into a joke. Okay.
I mean, it may sound like a joke when I say it or whatever. but
We're hitting on every word.
I know.
Every word.
Yeah. So I apologize for everyone who's hanging everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's easier to be a gracious winner.
Let go now. Okay. Let go. No, hang on.
Do not.
This is-
Mute right now. And I'll go like this when you need to turn the volume back up. No, but it's easier to be a gracious winner than a gracious loser.
Definitely, yeah.
So, and that
Definitely.
says a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And for whatever reason, if there is a position that you really want and you do not get it the first time, and you feel the second that you want to run again, you always have that option.
Yeah.
Or there might be an office that might suit you better.
Yeah.
You might be a little more prepared for, or a little bit better, might be a better fit. Or if you want, timing too, sometimes, it's just, maybe if you haven't got all the experience or, that you could have.
Right. Thank you. So we
Washington
got
3,
Washington 3 in.
Number
Okay.
5.
So this is good. Okay. So again, Washington 3 on the Republican side. In the U.S. House District 9. Aaron Houchin with 118 votes. J. Michael Davison with 40, and Mike Sodrell with 30. Stu Barnes Israel with 21. So that's in that contest race. So for state senator, District 47, again on the Republican side, Kevin Bainline with 62 votes, Gary Byrne with 139. I do like these new forms, I will say. So for Washington County Sheriff, this is again Washington 3. On on Wayne Blevins with 44 votes, Brent Miller with 159, Roy Overshiner with 15. For county assessor, Republican, Gregory Ball with 69, Sherry Wingler with 133. For Republican State Convention, even though there's 9, I'm going to give the top 4 vote getters for that out of Washington 1. So we've got Aaron Houchin with 136, J. Michael Davison with 121, Dustin Houchin with 104, and Tara Coates Hunt with 103. So for United States Representative District 9, Democrat, Washington 3, we're looking at Matthew Fife with 11 votes, Isaac Asari with 5, and Liam Doris with 4. So that's the contested races coming out of Washington 3, the 5th precinct that we have coming in.
Yay.
So,
10 to go, and, no, it's 15 to go, sorry, 5 down and 15 to go.
Yeah, so.
I was thinking
that's
there's
good.
15 total,
Yeah.
20 total.
Yeah.
Yes, all right, so
So,
we're getting it. We're sorry. Yeah.
Just myself.
Come over here, Maggie.
So, again, the contested races are closer on the Democrat side, but I think, that there again, what we've talked about all night, if you look at, so in this one, there was 256 voters in Washington 3 that cast their ballots today. So when you're looking at that, but there's a larger number of Republican votes cast
Right.
in this primary than Democrats as of right now. That's what the trend is.
And it's kind of neat, like you had the map of the county, and you see like how everybody kind of
I think
did.
for the fall, we need one of those.
That would be
touch
cool.
boards, 'cause
Yeah, we need to
I
work
see
on
those
that,
on TV.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know where I can get a TV.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So when we can show like
Yeah.
the different part of the county, because it's interesting to hear, which what
Yeah.
which
do
way
those
they-
deep dives like
Yeah,
they do,
kind of
I think that'd be
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Totally.
Definitely.
I'm
We'll
we gotta
work on
figure
that.
technology.
Got all summer and
Yes.
part of fall to,
Yes.
to get busy on that, right?
Yeah.
I'll get all over that.
So
one,
yeah,
sure.
I mean.
Well,
I'm in.
and of course, from the spring to we have the ending of the spring and on into the summer and then into the fall. You'll have time to do more homework on these candidates too.
Yes. Yes. And there's a lot of opportunities during the summer. County fairs and
Mhm.
especially the ones that are representing other than Washington County folks. Washington County and the larger areas, some of the statewide and national candidates that we have. That's a chance. There's going to be a lot of opportunity, to do that. And again, in the fall, you'll do the political forum, so that's always a thing. But there's going to be plenty of time to get information and do your homework. And don't be afraid if you see a candidate somewhere, talk to them, ask them questions, because they really. When you talk to, and you've been around things enough that when you go and candidates don't really have a lot of people engaging with them, they'd rather people be asking them questions.
Absolutely, yeah,
and things like
yeah.
that. So
Definitely. So I think it brings up some good opportunities to do that, and something that maybe you need some clarity or want to know, and kind of it's a great opportunity to get to talk and to kind of get to know someone, and that's always awesome too, and for them to get to know you,
and you know who to call if you need something.
Yeah.
Right.
So that'll be, and that's always a great time, for all, and of course there'll be parades going on, there'll be
Yes.
other festivities that they can, and getting to know the candidates.
I am on a personal note. We were talking about the 4th of July parade. I am going to kind of miss Trey Hollingsworth.
Oh, he walked around it twice.
He walked it twice.
Yeah,
and
he did,
so
yeah,
and
yeah.
was always.
Remember, and even on the second time, he wasn't winded.
No.
Yeah.
No. We're like, what?
Yeah.
But,
We're just sitting here melting.
I don't know.
It's the 4th of July. Yeah.
And he was
popsicle.
always,
Yeah.
and he was always, every time, gracious to, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
But he was so engaged, even,
Yeah.
and I think it was interesting that he walked it twice so he could see
If there was
different
somebody he
people
missed,
every time, and he missed.
Yeah,
and things like
yeah.
that.
When you think about that,
That's
when
important.
you're going down one side of the street and then you go back, around and then you go to the other side of the street, and so.
So, his energy was,
Yeah.
Anyway,
See what
but
the steps are.
he's a great example of
Yeah.
politician that says, I only will serve this long, and he was true to his word on that.
Yeah. For sure.
And I'm not saying just if you don't limit yourself, that's not what a negative thing I'm saying. I'm just saying he's
No,
just one of those that he's like, this is how long I want to represent you, and he kept his word, and I think that's very good.
And I think it's different for everyone, you know, it depends on, you know, if you have, like, you want to, you know, be a part and you want to give back and you felt like you're done giving back and you either want to move on to something different or, you know, just say, I'll take a break for a little while and let somebody else.
Yeah, and because your life changes so much, you know, and those windows in your life open at different times. So,
Definitely.
anyway, so.
You have to do what's best for you, and it's a family decision. I mean, you know, this is a family. I mean, your family is very much involved in a big part of it, you know, and a lot of our candidates, you know, set out a lot of signs, you know, and setting out all those signs and then get the fun part of, just like anything, picking up those signs, right?
That's when the family
When
comes
you
in.
dump the
That's when
bag
the
of
kids
Lego,
come
you
in.
have to go, you gotta pick one.
Thank you.
Salem
All right, Salem 1. We got Salem 1. So, Salem 1 on the Republican side for United States Representative District 9. You've got Aaron Houchin with 69 votes, Mike Sodrell with 10, J. Michael Davison with 18, and Stu Barnes Israel with 17. For State Senator District 47 in Salem 1, Republican, Kevin Bainline with 49 votes, and Gary Byrne with 62. For Washington County Sheriff, Salem 1 on the Republican side, Wayne Blevins with 30 votes, Brent Miller with 74, Roy Overshiner with 15. For County Assessor, Gregory Ball with 40, Sherry Wingler with 74. And County Council District 1, Salem 1, Gerald Fleming with 65, Ryan Watson with 44. Township Board Member, 3 candidates come out of this. Randy Bills, 69 votes, D. Jack Maheron, 71, Bruce Snyder, 52, Norman Souter, 61. For United States Representative, House of Representatives, District 9 on the Democrat side, Salem 1, Isaac Asari with 7 votes, Liam Doris with 6, and Matthew Fife with 12. So again, that was Salem 1. There was, all right, so Salem 1, there was 147 Republican votes cast and 26 Democrat votes cast. So a little shy of 200 votes in Salem 1 cast there. So
Wow.
yeah. So again, in the little technical difficulty right there. So in the Aaron Houchin continues to hold a lead for House of Representatives District 9 on the Republican side, and Brent Miller continues to hold the lead for on the Republican side in the sheriff's race. It's just,
don't want to order too much that you will have to later on dispose of.
Right.
Because that's 30 cents
Yeah.
per sheet of paper.
yes.
We'll pick that up in a moment.
Well, to be continued.
Posey.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Posey, okay.
Posey, okay, we've got Posey. For Posey Township on the Republican side, 185 ballots were cast on the Republican side. So for United States House of Representatives, District 9, Aaron Houchin with 92 votes, Mike Sodrell with 26, Stu Barnes, Israel, 32. So he's kind of inched up a little bit there. And that's on the Republican side. State Senate, District 47, Kevin Bainline with 48 and Gary Byrne with 116. For Washington County Sheriff, out of Posey Township on the Republican side, Wayne Blevins with 60 votes, the incumbent Brent Miller, 98 votes, and Roy Overshiner with 10. County Assessor on the Republican side, Gregory Ball with 65, Sherry Wingler with 84. So he tightened that up just a little bit in that race. So Posey Township for District 2, County Council, Tanya Marshall with 42 votes, Chuck McKillop with 16, and Joe Walker with 91. And Township Trustee, Posey Township, Ken Armstrong with 109, and Kayla Davison with 55. And we haven't mentioned this, Township Board, this is a new one. 3 candidates are available to go through to the general. The Township Board member for Posey Township, there's only 2 on the ballot. Both will go through, but Marvin Butch Jenks and Tara Lehman with 84 on that. And on Posey Township, on the Democrat side, 38 ballots were cast there. So for U.S. House of Representatives District 9, Isaac Asari with 5, Liam Doris with 7, and Matthew 5. He continues to add to his lead with 15. So that's Posey Dems. There was 38 ballots cast in Posey Township on the Democratic side, and there was 185 Republican ballots requested in Posey Township there. So,
and I believe that's number 9, right?
yes, that is number 9. This is the
Yay.
9th precinct.
All right, we're getting
so
there.
11 more. So
Yeah.
we're almost half, right?
Yeah, exciting for sure.
So that's good. So we've got a couple of things to think about. Gary Byrne continues for his seat as state senator in District 47 on the Republican side. And Brent Miller on the Republican side for sheriff, the incumbent, he continues to increase his lead there.
Yeah.
So
Exciting.
we're just not quite halfway through. So, and Sherry Wingler on county assessor on the Republican side continues to have a strong lead there. So,
Right. Well, and each department, that's running, each politician is running, and each, office that they'll be holding has got a lot of responsibility, and you're talking, making these big decisions for your community and very valuable, decisions. So it's a large responsibility when they do put their name in the hat and step out. So we've got to give them all a big, shout out to them for even doing that,
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to me in a non-presidential
Right.
year. You mentioned, the lady who told you she's just going to wait to vote for a presidential campaign. But if you look at this local election, all politics is local. But you look at it, this is a midterm year, how they term it, but we've got the U.S. House of Representatives and a Senate seat on this ballot, all the way down to township trustee positions here. So we've got, other than, a governor or president, vice president, we've got entry level all the way up. So I think that's interesting.
Definitely.
So it's like, it's interesting to me that you can, in a primary, you can vote for, all kinds of different offices. And it's important. That's another reason that, it's not just voting for the big guys. So to speak,
Absolutely. So it's exciting for sure. So
I like that. I know.
Yeah,
I know that's a politics.
I know. Because there's
Politics
some
nerd
that
thing,
like,
to me.
that will, that
Yeah.
will have some numbers in one precinct, and then the other one will have come up a little bit more.
So the township trustee that wins in an, in a midterm year, that may win at the same time that that person wins for United States Senate, that goes on and becomes president, and that township trustee goes on and becomes a state or a U.S. senator. I think
Look at
see, it's
that.
possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. So
Yeah. On the trail.
so it's important.
Yeah.
I know, but politics
Well,
politics is interesting.
It's very interesting, and a lot of history repeats itself, and you can do trivia on even the presidents and seeing how much of things that kind of doing it their way, but also adding to it, and I think that starts at all levels, and it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
That's what
It is, and it's just I just
and
think it's interesting.
you're making decisions that you want fair to all concerned.
Yes, and it's always, if you look back at just local politics, how X number of years ago, in a primary, it would have been more people requesting a Democrat ballot than a Republican ballot, and just how everything is, it goes in cycles, and it's just I think that stuff is interesting to me. It's just like, what happened in those 20 years to cause the pendulum to swing the other way. And I think primaries give you that look in time. If you look back historically, who was voting back then, and what changed to where the party affiliation or just ballot requested. That doesn't mean that you're, and that's another thing. You can be a Democrat but request a Republican ballot, or a Republican and request a Democrat ballot. But it's interesting to me to see what changed in that time frame to cause that to change, and the electorate to either move to one side or the other. So this is kind of.
No, I think it's kind of cool. I think it's really cool, and I think a lot of your civic classes ought to do some research on that too.
Yes.
And that was something that I remember learning a lot about elections from that, and learning how they were. We actually remember went right up to the courthouse, and here you are, and meeting these different elected, the ones that were running actually candidates. And I remember thinking how scary that would be, for them, but anyway, but then in the later realizing how important it is,
And you think about the makeup of the electorate. There's folks that got elected 25 years ago as a Democrat or Republican, either one, and you can say it for both sides of the aisle, but they got elected in their party, their respective party, that today wouldn't get elected in that respective party, just because of how things change and everything, and the things the way, so that's an example of, don't always identify everything as R or D or independent or libertarian or whatever.
Right.
You need to think about it as what the candidate is and what the issues are, because some issues, they're not only one party issues, they're across the board. So that's something that I think that people should take into consideration.
I have to agree with, yeah. Well, it'd be very interesting, and tomorrow morning, we'll have tonight we're going to give you the wrap up, and we'll give you the unofficial results, but tomorrow we will hit the official results.
Yes. And I do, the disclaimer for everybody out there is I am that armchair expert, when it comes to the politics, let's go. So.
Madison, okay.
Madison, all
here
right. Okay, Madison Township. So on the Republican side, 73 ballots were cast. So for United States Representative District 9, Aaron Houchin with 42 votes, Stu Barnes Israel with 13, and Mike Stottrell with 6. State Senator District 47, Madison Township, Republican side, Kevin Bainline 16, Gary Byrne with 52. State Representative District 55 on the Republican side, John Lee with 19, Chris May with 41. Again, this is Madison Township in Republican side of the election. For Washington County Sheriff on the Republican side, Madison Township, Wayne Blevins with 25, Brent Miller, the incumbent, with 43, Roy Overshiner with 3. County Assessor, Madison Township, Gregory Ball with 28, Sherry Wingler with 36. He's cutting into that lead a little bit there. County Council, District 3, again, Republican side, Tanya Marshall with 17, Chuck McKillop with 6, and Joe Walker with 46 votes there. One thing also that we've been talking about contested vote, but this is a new one for us with Madison Township. Township trustee Lee Badger on the Republican side is unopposed. He'll go to the general, but that's a new one that we haven't talked about yet. For Township board member, and there's 3, and this is a new one for Madison Township, Brian Blevins with 35 votes and Sharon Dennis with 50. On the Democratic side, there was 12 ballots cast on the Democratic side. So for United States House of Representatives District 9, Isaac Asari with 2, Liam Doris with 2, and Matthew Fife with 6. And that's all of the unopposed. And we did mention this one earlier, but Township Board member for Madison Township on the Democratic side, 3 come out of there, but there was only 1 on there, and that was Tammy Worley. So she'll move on to the general election.
Very interesting. Okay, so it's 10 till we are halfway there, living on a prayer, right?
Yes.
We're
Yes.
halfway.
And maybe a drink of a soda. I don't want to drink soda.
It's a 7. You're fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not advocating.
Yeah. It had a political name on
Yeah.
there. You know how they put the names on sodas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it Coke or Pepsi? It's
Coke.
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 Remember how they had like
Yeah.
your name? So if you had your candidate's name, I bet you could get in trouble for that.
Probably so.
I bet you.
Stephanie would
You
confiscate the
You can't have names on your sodas. Yeah. No.
or show my age, kill her this year.
Yeah, but I would, but whenever, whenever they come out with that, I look for my, name. As a matter of fact, somebody delivered me a Coke at Woodman.
Yeah.
And I've done that before too.
Well,
More
here we come.
recent.
Stephanie is
Oh,
like,
that's Coke time.
she's like,
Jefferson.
thank you. This is Jefferson Township.
We're gonna ask her
I-
out.
We'll clarify. So, so Jefferson Township, on the Republican side, there was 90 ballots there. So in the U.S. Representatives District 9, Aaron Houchin with 38 votes, D. Eric Schonsberg with 10, J. Michael Davison with 11, and Mike Sodrell with 10. So we haven't heard much from Eric Schonsberg, but he has 10, so he's got there. So in State Senator District 47, Kevin Bainline with 19 votes and Gary Byrne with 4. State Representative District 65, John Lee, 17, Chris May with 48. Washington County Sheriff for Republican side in Jefferson Township, Wayne Blevins with 22, Brent Miller with 52, and Roy Overshiner with 7. So County Assessor, Gregory Ball, 28, Sherry Wingler with 44. So back to the sheriff's, Brent Miller continues to have a comfortable lead through 11 precincts there. Township trustee, this is a new one that is on here, so that we haven't talked about. For Jefferson Township trustee on the Republican side, Andrew Knapp, and he will go through to the general election for that. And Township board member, Jefferson Township on the Republican side, 3 will go through to the general election, and there's 3 on here on the Republican side. Jamie Bennett with 42, Jason Linscott with 33, and Shannon Sullivan with 63. So that's a new one that we'll go through, even though they'll go through to the fall. That's one that we had not talked about yet. On the Democrat side in Jefferson Township, 11 ballots were requested for the Democrats. In U.S. Representative District 9, Isaac Asari with 0, Liam Doris with 2, Matthew Fife with 4. Okay, that's all of those. Oh, township trustee on the Democrat side, we haven't talked about that. In Jefferson Township, Marnie Bennett goes through to the fall there. Okay.
Those different
So,
races, yeah.
Yeah, some of the different races that even though they're not opposed, we haven't mentioned them yet, and they haven't because they're township specific, and
Exactly.
so we'll want to
And that
give them
gets
the credit
confusing to
for
a lot
them.
of people
Yes.
because, like, they'll see a candidate and they'll know them and they'll say, "Oh, I'll vote for you," but you're not in my. But then
Right.
they're not. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Stephanie's coming with more. See, we knew that.
Vernon.
Vernon. Shout out to Vernon.
Shout out to Vernon out there. My stomping grounds there. Okay, so Vernon Township. On the Republican side, there was 106 ballots cast. For U.S. Representative District 9, Aaron Houchin with 50A. We have got J. Michael Davison with 18 and Mike Sodrell with 11. For State Senator District 47, Gary Byrne with 50 and Kevin Bainline with 26. Let's see if there's anything new here. State Representative District 65, John Lee with 22. Chris May continues to hold his lead in that on the Republican side for State Representative District 65. All right. So Washington County Sheriff, and this is Republican coming out of Vernon Township, Wayne Blevins with 13, Brent Miller with 71, and Roy Overshiner with 7. So the incumbent there continues to hold the lead there. For County Assessor, for Republican, Vernon Township, 26 for Gregory Ball and Sherry Wingler with 60. County Commissioner, we've already talked about that. This is one that we haven't talked about. Thank you. This one that we have not talked about, but he will be, as of right now, he's the only one on the ballot. Preston Shell in County Council for District 3. He'll be moving on to the general election there. In Vernon Township, there was 10 ballots requested on the Democrat side. There is United States Representative District 9. Isaac Asari had 0 votes. Liam Doris had 0 votes. Matthew Fife got all votes cast in there. He continues to have a lead on the Democratic side in this race and in Vernon Township. That's it on Vernon Township Trustee. This is a race we haven't talked about.
Right.
Marcia Guthrie. She will be on the Democratic side. She will be going through there. And 3 candidates possible on Township Board Member Vernon Township. On the Democratic side, these will all be going to election in the fall. Rhonda Shastine and David Root. So that's a race we haven't talked about. So they're moving on to the fall. So, okay, so they're coming fast and furious now.
Yeah.
So we're on 13.
Yeah.
So we're in Monroe.
Monroe.
On Republican side, U.S. House of Representatives Aaron Houchin with 49, J. Michael Davidson with 26, and Mike Sodrell with 13. Gary Byrne in the State Senator District 47 race. He continues to hold the lead with 52 to 40 for Kevin Bainline. Again, this is a Monroe Township Republican side. In Washington County Sheriff, Monroe Township, Wayne Blevins with 26, Brent Miller, the incumbent, with 54, and Roy Overshiner with 22. County Assessor, Gregory Ball with 35. Sherry Wingler continues to hold her lead at 15. And Township Trustee from Monroe Township, we haven't talked about this yet. Jennifer Bowers has 65, and Amy Cornett has 39. And that is one we'll go through to the fall, but as of right now, Jennifer Bowers is leading that, and that's a new one that we have. And since that's Monroe Township only, I would say that would make her the one going through to the fall. All right, so, and Democrats, Monroe Township, Matthew Fife continues in District 9, leading in that race there. So going on, this is Precinct 14. This is Washington 4. For U.S. Representative on the Republican side, Aaron Houchin with 89 votes, J. Michael Davison with 35, Mike Sodrell with 17, and Stu Barnes Israel with 15 there. State Senator District 47, Gary Byrne has 100 votes to Kevin Bainline's 46. Okay, For Washington County Sheriff in Washington 4 on the Republican side, Wayne Blevins with 42 votes, incumbent Britt Miller with 111, Roy Overshiner with 9. County Assessor Gregory Ball with 42, Sherry Wingler continues her lead with 105 votes there. Okay. County Council, this is one we haven't talked about. District 4, unopposed, but Karen Wishmeyer is on the Republican side for County Council for District 4. For Township Trustee in Washington Township, thank you. Josh Anderson is unopposed there, but that's a race we haven't talked about. Okay, on the Democrat side, there was 19 in Washington 4 ballots requested. It was a tie for U.S. District 9. Isaac Asari, Liam Doris, and Matthew Fife all with 3 votes there. And there's no other township races or anything there. So that was Washington 4. Number 14. So
we're on to number 15.
We're on to
wow.
15.
We're getting
so
there.
we got a couple more here already waiting. So Salem 3, U.S. District 9, Aaron Houchin with 90, J. Michael Davidson with 44, and Mike Sodrell has 22. Kevin Bainline for State Senator District 47, 59, Gary Burns 117. For Washington County Sheriff in Salem 3, Wayne Blevins 37, Brent Miller 132, Roy Overshiner with 19. County Assessor Gregory Ball with 55, Sherry Wingler with 119. Okay. And for U.S. Representative on the Democrat side, Salem 3, Matthew Fife has 25, Isaac Sari 6, Liam Doris has 3. And that's the major opposed ones in Salem 3, the 15th precinct that we have reporting.
Number 15, yeah.
Yeah. So now 16 is Salem 4 on the Republican side for State Representative District 9, Aaron Houchin with 86 votes, J. Michael Davison with 36, Mike Sodrell with 19. State Senator District 47, Kevin Bainline with 61, Gary Byrne with 100. All right, for County Sheriff, and this is Salem 4 on the Republican side, Wayne Blevins with 50 votes, Brent Miller with 101, Roy Overshiner with 23. County Assessor Gregory Ball has 54, Sherry Wingler with 106 votes there. County Council District 1 on the Republican side, Gerald Fleming with 95 votes, Ryan Watson with 62. And on the Democrat side, Salem 4, 28 ballots were requested there. Isaac Asari has 3 votes for U.S. District 9 in Congress. Liam Doris has 7, and Matthew Fife continues to hold his lead at 8 with 8 votes. So
wow.
He continues to hold his lead there.
So just talking and just going by right now, and let's go what we're seeing as far as our representative. Well, here comes more Stephanie. So
All right.
We'll do a recap in a moment, and do want to remind everybody at the end we will give all the precincts, and then we will give the actual totals and the follow-up of all the precincts together. So for those that are not real great at math.
So Pierce Township on the Republican side for U.S. House District 9, Aaron Houchin with 143 votes, Stu Barnes Israel with 36, J. Michael Davison with 32, and Mike Sodrell with 32. For State Senator District 47, Kevin Bainline 99, and Gary Byrne continues to hold the lead there with 144 votes in that race. So State Representative, this is District 70, the one that we haven't talked about. Unopposed, but on the Republican side, it's Karen Engelman, and she'll be going through in District 70 in that race for State Representative. County Sheriff, Pierce Township, Republican side, Wayne Blevins, 55, Brent Miller, 198, Roy Overshiner, 12. For County Assessor, on the Republican side, Pierce Township, Gregory Ball with 81, Sherry Wingler with 146. County Council, District 1, in Republican side, Gerald Fleming with 183 and Ryan Watson with 65. So this is a new one, Township Trustee for Pierce Township. Jeff Klim with 125 votes and Brenna LaDuke with 131. Township Board Member, but there's 3 that's going through, and this is one of the Township Board races that we haven't talked much about. Scott Miller, 146, Jeff Pickrell with 131, and Stephen Purley with 168, and they all go through. And on U.S. House of Representatives Democrats, Matthew Fife with 10, Isaac Asari with 9, and Liam Doris with 9. Also, State Representative District 70, there is someone on the Democrat side unopposed, but we'll go through and we'll meet the Republican, and this is Jason Shemansky. We'll go through to the fall there. This is the 18th, and we're going to get the 18th precinct in.
2 to go.
2 to go for this. Okay, this is Polk Township on the Republican side. House of Representatives District 9, Aaron Houchin with 133 votes. J. Michael Davison with 42. Mike Sodrell with 33, and Stu Barnes Israel with 27. For State Senator, District 47, Kevin Bainline, 115, Gary Byrne, 128. So this is Polk Township, Republican, for Washington County Sheriff. Wayne Blevins with 77 votes. Incumbent Brent Miller with 164, Roy Overshiner with 15. County Assessor Gregory Ball with 103, Sherry Wingler with 129. Okay, Township Trustee for Polk Township. It's one of those we haven't talked about. Cameron Stahl has 124 votes, and Claire Sullivan Jr. with 138 votes, and that is for Polk Township Trustee. Township Board Member, 3 candidates go through for that. There's 5 on the ballot. Eric Anderson with 133, Joseph Bagshaw 106, 68 for Tim Combs, 126 for David Hurst, Jeremy Souter 186. So the top 3 vote getters as of right now, Jeremy Souter, Eric Albertson, and David Hurst for Township Board Member Polk Township. On the Republican side, Polk Township on the Democrat side, 42 ballots were requested there. Matthew Fife continues to have a lead in District 9 for House of Representatives. So that's what's on the Democrat side.
Wow. And they are coming in fast. Now we're like in a race. Now,
Yes, yes.
now the race is on, you know. Well, it's true, you know,
Yes, it is.
and how fast they come in. And for those that, you know, it takes, I mean, you're doing a wonderful job, Riley, and, you know, and making sure and getting the numbers and how nice they are that they printed out for us. And
Yeah.
years ago, we wouldn't get that, you know.
No, I can,
And, you know,
just a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I had columns. You
Yeah,
had columns
remember?
going,
Yeah, to
so,
do that. So we've come a long way, but you're doing a great job. And of course, you know, right now, you know, the numbers are just so up in the air, and for those, it is hard to write them all down and to have it all. So we will give a recap, but you kind of got an idea in your mind of who's in the lead. And
We've got the incumbent on the Republican side, Brett Miller, is holding a consistent lead there. Something that State Senate in District 47, Gary Byrne is, it's been tightening and widening, so he's holding a consistent lead there too as well. So that's just 2 of the ones off the top of my head, and then Aaron Houchin is
This is the last precinct, and then we'll come up with the
oh,
final
last
report.
precinct. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
We'll come up
All right.
next.
And the final report.
Okay, so this is last one, and then we'll have a final report. So this is for Franklin Township. So I was like, Franklin. I was going through all the townships
Yeah,
in
there
my
you
mind, and I still remember the townships in the county. So anyway, so on the Republican side, there was 241 ballots on the Republican side requested in Franklin Township. For U.S. House of Representatives District 9, Aaron Houchin with 129 votes, Stu Barnes Israel with 26, Mike Sottrell with 25, and J. Michael Davison with 24. For State Senate, District 47, Gary Byrne, 120 to Kevin Bainline's 86. And that's one of those races. Gary Byrne has kind of held a consistent lead there. One thing that we haven't talked about, State Representative District 9 on the Republican side, Jim Lucas is on there. He's unopposed. He'll go through to the fall, but that's part of the county has him as the state representing District 9. So it's worth a mention there as far as that goes. So Franklin Township on the Republican side, for Washington County Sheriff, Wayne Blevins with 57 votes, Brent Miller with 151, Roy Overshiner with 15. Again, Brent Miller has kept a consistent lead there. County Assessor, this is on the Republican side, Greg Ball with 73, Sherry Wingler 132. That's moved in and out, but she is holding a consistent lead now as of this precinct. So Township Trustee for Franklin Township, this is one of those races that we'll talk about here for this township. Stephen Anderson is a Republican, and he'll move through to the fall. And Township Board Member, there's possible 3 candidates, but only 2 are on the ballot. But both of these will move through to the fall. Scott Applegate and Rhodes Metters. So they'll be moving through and out of Franklin Township. So U.S. House District 9 on the Democrat side in Franklin Township, 26 ballots were given out. And so 11 for Matthew Fife, and he continued to have a pretty consistent lead. And then Isaac Asari with 9 and Liam Doris with 4 there. Now also State Representative District 69, this is one to talk about on the Democrat side, Chad Harmon. So he'll be going through to the fall there as far as that goes. So,
Wow.
So, and I'm just gonna kind of just give you a rundown by group. So on Franklin Township, 241 Republican and ballots and 26 Democrats.
Wow.
In Polk Township, 314 Republican to 42 Democrats. Pierce, 306 Republican, sorry, got that backward, and 35 Democrats in Pierce. Salem 4, 206 Republican and 28 Democrat. In Salem 3, 231 Republican, 45 Democrat. In Washington 4, 181 Republican and 19 Democrat. So we go through all that, but it just shows that it's just the number of Republicans probably were 3 to 1, 2.5 to 3 to 1 of ballots requested in the primary. So that's not an indication of anything that may come to fruition in the fall. That's just where we are for the primary as far as that goes. So.
And so 19 of the precincts in, and so this last report that we'll get will be the final but unofficial, the final for tonight.
Right. So, So any takeaways that you have right now?
I don't know. I just it's been very.
It's a lot, right?
It is a lot, and you know, you've been throwing those numbers out like whoa. So it is a lot, and I think that every one of them has worked very hard, and I think that hats off to them, and we'll give them a big shout out for that and putting their name in the hat and doing this, and but I hope that they turn it around and make it for the good and help that candidate out, and be a big part of it. So I think that was we had some races that were I guess going to be different, to see how they turned out.
Yeah, and and some of the, and I'm not necessarily just talking about big races, I'm talking about all the way across. There's some that, are closer than maybe some people thought, and some that were a bigger gap than some people thought. And so I think that's
very interesting. Yeah, for sure.
And I want to make sure, I hope we didn't miss anybody. We tried to get all of the individual township races at least mentioned 1 or 2 times, just because they're only in that precinct as it comes in. And so we tried to give shout out to everybody, because the township trustee and the township board races are, that's specific to them. So I hope I didn't miss anybody, because we're not.
And that gets a lot of people get confused on that. We just kind of on that just a little bit, but like, someone will say, vote for me, But if you don't live in that precinct,
Right.
it's not gonna, for some races, it's not going to actually affect.
And it's kind of funny sometimes because, the way they got to draw the lines, there are people that live across the road,
Oh,
especially out in the
Yeah,
county.
exactly.
Your neighbor, catty corner across the road from you may be in a different township or maybe in a
Mhm,
different precinct than
Yeah.
you. So it's interesting to
Yeah,
that too.
for sure.
Yeah.
And, of course now, but years ago, before you could attend, like, you can go to any school, they opened it up now, but used to, then, and like, you'd have one that would be this part, go to this school in the county, and this would go, and they could be right there, neighbors.
Yeah. Well, and I know of family members that, like, especially like
Well,
out
they're
in the county,
better.
well, no, I was talking about like they're on this side of the road and their cousins live right across the road from them and they went to,
I thought maybe,
a different school.
one
No,
bedroom
yeah.
on this side of the road.
I'm the kid that gets I chose that bedroom, so I get to go to there and you gotta go
I
there.
don't
So,
know. I didn't
yeah,
know where you're going.
no, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
So,
There is a song that talks about the middle of the road, so
Yeah.
let's hope there's not a house in the middle of the road, actually, okay?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the song Dead Skunk.
No. Boy, that brings up a good, I have a good story about the skunk, yeah. Laugh, yeah, you did good. But, I do have a skunk story. And they will be around spreading their, their goodness all around.
Vociferous
Yes.
gloriousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the season. This has been turkey season. This has been mushroom hunting season, and of course, tick season. That's always one that's very popular. Yeah. So a lot of outdoor activities and a lot of great time to get out. We've had some really nice days. We had some freezing days. We've had some cold days. Had some frost days. But it is what it is. An election now. Everybody's been waiting for this third day of May to get here, and exciting time for sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna get a final numbers for those of us who are like feverishly over here with columns and stuff. So
Right,
we
right.
can't do that.
No,
We're not.
we're reading the numbers.
Yeah, we are. But,
Well, that's a lot of
I,
responsibility.
yeah,
I mean, if you, for some reason, if you forget to carry over.
we declare our own winners and then the
Have you ever
numbers.
been accused of that? Of not carrying?
Stephanie comes in with, no.
Stephanie Rocky's gonna be like,
2+2 is
yeah,
4.
no, you do, yeah. Math is,
We'll blame Common Core math.
there we go, there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, hats off to everybody, Stephanie and her team. And I know she's going to come in and talk to us and we're going to wrap up with her. But hats off to them and these new forms. Actually, once
Nice,
the
yeah.
first one
We
was
gotta get the
confusing
rhythm. We gotta
because
get the-
it did not have it broken down. It just was in general. But then if you can see here, she highlighted. I think that was for me. What township and
That's
Republican or
nice.
Democrat.
Look
So,
at that.
so she
She
helped
put
me
some
out.
color
So
to your black and
yeah,
white
so
page.
it's like,
Yeah,
wait a
there you
minute,
go.
yeah. So
That's
then
nice.
she made sure that she also pointed when she laid the picture out. So she takes great care of us.
Yeah,
So
she does.
I'm joking about that,
we
but
need
they
that,
work
no.
really hard and they
Absolutely.
do a great job making sure that we can get the numbers as seamless.
Well, they know
as
it's
possible.
valuable to the community. I mean, and they know that our community, we care. We've got a lot of people out there, a lot of races out there that people want to know about, and people are ready to get this over with. And it's just amazing. Like years ago, I mean, you'd be at the courthouse till midnight, and we'd be scraping, frost off the window. No, it's true,
Yeah.
And we've come a long way, baby. We're here at the Justice Center, a beautiful center, and even they had a meeting in the other part of the building. So that's pretty appropriate. I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's utilizing utilizing the building very well.
Yeah. And this is a great facility here.
That's important.
I think we're gonna be,
Uh-oh.
could be it.
Please.
the final end.
Awesome.
All right.
So, this is unofficial. Okay, this is unofficial. So, on Republican side, for United States Senator, he was unopposed, but Todd Young will go through to the fall on that. So, in the United States Representative District 9 in Washington County, the leader with the unofficial results is Aaron Houchin with 1,834 votes. Behind her is J. Michael Davison with 550, Mike Sodrell with 405, and Stu Barnes Israel with 384. State Senator, District 47, again on the Republican side. Kevin Bainline with 1,121, and Gary Byrne opened up a lead at 1,990 with 63.97% of the vote there. State Representative, District 65, John Lee ended up with 93 votes, and Chris May came out the unofficial winner in that race at 246 votes. Jim Lucas was unopposed on the Republican side. For State Representative, he got 1,390 votes. State Representative, District 70, Karen Engelman was unopposed with 880 votes. Larry Medlock, Judge of the Circuit Court, 42nd Circuit, unopposed with 2,778 votes. Judge of Superior Court, 42nd Circuit, Dustin Houchin with 2,655. He was unopposed there. Prosecuting Attorney, 42nd Circuit, the only one on the Republican side of the ballot, Tara Coates Hunt with 2,620 votes. County Auditor, Republican, Kyra Stevenson, 2,649 votes. County Recorder, Terry Graves, 2,554 votes. Washington County Sheriff, Republican side, Wayne Blevins with 808 votes. Brent Miller, the incumbent, 2,286 votes. Roy Overshiner, 282 votes. The incumbent Brent Miller will represent the Republican Party on the fall for Washington County Sheriff. County Assessor, Gregory Ball with 1,100 votes to Sherry Wingler's 1,969 votes. She got 64% of the vote there. She will be the Republican candidate for County Assessor in the fall. County Commissioner, District 2, Todd Ewan, unopposed, 2,588 votes. County Council Member, District 1, on the Republican side, 492 votes for Gerald Fleming Sr. and Ryan Watson with 307 votes. County Council, District 2, 314 votes. The winner there for Forrest Joe Walker Jr. and Tanya Marshall with 300 was second behind him. Preston Shell will represent District 3 in the fall, and County Council, Karen Wishmeyer for District 4 will represent the Republicans in the fall. Township Trustee, Brown Township, Sue Bennett will represent the Republicans. Township Board Member, Brown Township, also Randy Roberts. Township Trustee, Franklin Township, Stephen Anderson. Township Board Members, for the Republican side, Scott Applegate and Rhodes Metters, Franklin Township there. Township Trustee for Gibson Township, Rachel Witchmeyer. On the Republican side, Township Board Member, Howard Township, Sheila Stone. Township Trustee, Jackson Township, P. Matthew and Cantalupo. Township Board Member, Jackson Township, William Craig Martin. Township Trustee, Jefferson Township, Andrew Knapp. Township Board Member 3 going, Jamie Bennett, Jason Linscott, Shannon Sullivan out of Jefferson Township. Township Trustee, Madison Township, Matt Lee Badger. Township Board Member, Madison Township, 3 here, but there's only 2, Brian Blevins and Sharon Dennis. Township Trustee, Monroe Township, Jennifer Bowers, Amy Cornett. In that, the winner, Jennifer Bowers, came out of the winner of that with 61% of the vote. Township Trustee, Jeff Clem, 144. Brennan LeDuc topped him with 150 votes. So a 6.6 vote differential there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Township Board Member, Pierce Township, all 3 will come out. Scott Miller, Jeffrey Pickrell, and Stephen Purley there. Township Trustee, Polk Township, Claire Sullivan defeated Cameron Stahl there. Township Board Member, Polk Township, 3 came out there. It is Jeremy Souter, Eric Albertson, and David Hurst. Township Trustee, Posey Township, Ken Armstrong was the winner there. Township Board Member, Posey Township, 3 coming out of there, but there was 2 on the ballot, Marvin Butch Jinks and Tara Lehman. Township Trustee, Washington Township, Joshua Anderson coming out there. Township Board Member, Washington Township, 3 coming out there. There was, Norman Souter with 780 votes. Second was 778 votes, Randy Bills, Bruce Snyder, and then D. Jack Maheron came out of there. So it's Norman Souter, Bruce Snyder, and Randy Bills coming out there. So now for the Democrat side, United States Senator Thomas Dermott will go against Todd Young in the fall. For House of Representatives, District 9, Matthew Fyfe was the winner there. Kevin Goodman is the Democrat representing District 65 and State Representative race. State Representative race, District 69. Chad Harmon will be representing the Democrats. State Representative District 70 will be Jason Szymanski. County Sheriff for the Democrats will be John Jack Jeffries. He was unopposed there. And 3 Township Board members for Brown Township. Both will go through to the fall, Gary Chasteen and Thomas Guthrie. And Township Board member Gibson Township, Dorothy Cleaner, Steve Johnson, Nathan Robinson all go through to the fall. Howard Township trustee Kathleen Zelovitz goes through. Township Board member Howard Township, David Duff Jr. and Earlene Silverthorne go through. Township Board member Jackson Township, Roy Dick and William Yates go through. Township trustee Jefferson Township, Marnie Bennett, unopposed. She represents the Democrats in the fall. Township Board member Madison Township, Tammy Worley, she represents the Democrats in the fall. Township Board member Posey Township, Jerome Jacoby goes through. And Township trustee Vernon Township, Marcia Guthrie goes through. And Township Board members Rhonda Chasteen and David Ruth both go through.
Wow, Bradley.
Okay.
That was a mouthful, right? I mean,
You get,
yeah. Here, Stephanie,
Get
you
my
have
seat
Bradley
now?
Jr. Yeah,
yes,
come on
it
in.
probably is.
I hope I don't fall asleep.
No, I don't think I know.
We won't let
Yeah,
you.
we won't let you. Yeah,
We won't
we hope that you don't.
We're a little loud.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
We'll, that's why we put you in the middle, and we're gonna prop you up. We'll prop you up if you start leaning.
Yeah.
But Stephanie, tell everyone, as clerk, and of course, I think last time I spoke, I thought it was this week, but actually this is only Tuesday, so it was last week.
Yeah.
When you were a little concerned about some of the early turnout, and you didn't know how our numbers would be.
Yeah, it's always, like I said last week, it's a little bit concerning that, you want a high voter turnout. You want to know that all your hard work is going to pay off in the end by a high voter turnout. And so across the state, we've seen that the numbers were down a little bit. But, I mean, it is what it is at this point, and we'll go in and start auditing everything and securing, all of our results and tally tapes and securing those for the retention schedule that we have to meet under state guidelines.
And we want to underscore it's unofficial. The numbers.
Yes, it's unofficial.
So what will
Yes.
happen? Okay, so we Bradley just completely knocked it out of the ballpark with reading all that, and he draw the shortest straw.
Yeah.
Anyway, so no, thank you for doing that, Bradley. But okay, so then what's going to happen with these tonight?
We will audit every precinct, secure all their data they brought back, all their machines, ballots, the whole 9 yards, everything that is the records. Yes, before we leave, everything has to be secured. And then the county election board, 10 days, will go ahead and make the results official, and then certify those with the state. And then we're moving on to the general.
All right.
So it's a process. It's all, it's a process going into it. Election day is a process. And then, of course, afterwards, then you have to secure everything, audit, make sure all the numbers, the ballots that went out and everything has to, 1 + 1 has to equal 2 in the end of everything.
Right.
So for not knowing the answer to this, and maybe it's a silly question, but how long do you have to keep the ballots and all of that? How long does the state require you to retain that?
We have to keep 1 blank ballot from every precinct, a Republican and a Democrat, and then we have 24 months from the date of the election to hold everything. And so then after everything becomes certified, then we can shred the other ballots that have been used. But it's we gotta keep all records.
Right.
So sometimes it's like, oh goodness.
So as far as we were talking about, like extra ballots and knowing exactly how many to order, and you don't want to order too many, but then you want to order enough. And so, did you do a good job on your ordering?
Yeah, I'll know at the very end of tonight when I go in and start looking at everything and start securing it. But yeah, you never want to get the phone call or be, you're constantly looking at the results throughout the day and looking at your ballot count you ordered, and you never want to get the call that I'm running low on ballots, because you never want to run out
Right.
of ballots.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. But, you know, the new machines and the e-poll books, we got great feedback from the e-poll books.
That's awesome.
And the
That's
new
wonderful.
machines.
Yeah, the new machines were so impressive and
Yes.
so fast.
Well, it's one of those, you know, there's with anything new, there's always things you have to tweak. So we have to go back and do some reflection and see what we need to change up on things. And, you know, overall, you know,
So,
at the end of the day.
so I am curious. We talked about a couple things. It was interesting with the ID that they just scanned your ID and it made the voter experience better and faster.
Yes,
So,
love that.
but we have an ongoing thing that we need you to decide. And so I
I
don't
knew
want
you- I
you
knew you would
to, I don't
not
want
forget
you to
that.
choose anybody in particular.
No, we won't.
Okay.
We won't say which way.
But,
Yeah.
so with the new machines and the paper ballot and putting them in the machine, so which is the proper way? 2 hands?
For one.
Which is more
Actually-
efficient and better?
well, I'm not gonna side with either one of you. As long as it goes in, it's red, and that flag waves, we're good.
See, there you go.
Oh,
There you
hang
go.
on.
So I win.
Okay.
I win
A
by
ballot,
default.
a
So,
ballot
okay.
can go in front, back, feet first, head first, it doesn't matter, as long as it's fed in and the flag waves.
So
Oh.
I win by default because the discussion was, I said, you know, the flag, that way you'll know that your vote was accepted. And she said she didn't remember that part of it, so that means I won.
Yeah, I think I was taught.
As
Right.
long as the
See?
flag
Yeah.
waves,
See?
Yeah.
Hey,
your
she-
It
your
told
voice
me-
is heard.
I
she's
guess
in charge and
yeah.
she mentioned the flag, so that means I won.
I guess I need to be a little more observant. You know what I mean? Yes, it was cast, it was done, but I don't remember seeing that flag wave at me. I must have looked up and
Yeah.
I know it's a surprise to everyone who maybe was talking. You know?
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
No,
Because
no,
we're-
no,
you
no.
know, we're-
We
it
would
was-
now
it
we can
was-
sleep tonight knowing that. But
Yes, yes.
so Brad won, Becky 10 probably. You
That's a
know.
tie. We'll call it a tie because the important thing was that it took your vote, right? So either
Exactly,
way,
yes,
do it whatever. The important thing is it took the vote. So,
Yeah.
And however it took to get there. So Stephanie, as a clerk, okay, so your office is gonna take a little bit off. So when will you
No,
start?
there's no, there's no off.
So you guys know,
Wait.
we all got
That's a big
So you-
misconception. You're wrong on that.
You're
She's
all
one.
like,
going- you're all
wait a
going-
minute, don't start that.
You're all going to Disney World after this. We know.
We would love to, but that's not how that works.
So your vacation starts. So when will you
What's
actually?
Didn't she say tomorrow the general starts, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when
I'm
actually?
gonna start getting poll workers
No,
for the general
okay,
starting tomorrow.
We're gonna put the plea right now. Start thinking about that. Love to be, you know, I mean, and hats off to those poll workers out there and supporting and helping out our community. So, you know, if you're on the fence about it, come talk to Stephanie. You know, when she gets back from vacation.
There's no vacation again, Becky. There's no vacation.
So I think this is a very important topic. So here's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be out there. So Stephanie signed me up for a poll worker in the fall.
Yes.
Whoa, wait,
I'm
Brad
I'm
just
in the
volunteered.
gauntlet. I just
We
volunteered.
will probably
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
a poll worker challenge,
Ooh,
because our county reduced poll workers during COVID and it worked out. So we went from 95 down to 75.
wow, that's a big jump, yeah.
And we still had more issues this primary than during a presidential pandemic election.
Oh, wow.
And that's across the state. So we need to plant our little seeds of servant leadership and civic duty.
Yeah.
And because I can plan an election and my team can plan an election all we want to, but if we do not have poll workers that are out there each precinct,
Right.
that's actually conducting the job, then
Yeah.
we don't have an election. So I already said we're going to do it like weddings. We're going to start doing save the dates. And
There you go. Well, you know, it's a good plan of action. If that's what it takes, everybody, when things kind of opening, everybody is busy and people are going and doing. And so
Yes.
we need to make sure that we have the state safe. So with all series, so tomorrow, of course, you're going to be still in this primary, making sure that everything is official, and then your 10-day wait. And then you will start back in the gym for the general, right?
right, because I mean, it's constantly with the voter registration that opens back up on May 17th.
Oh, my goodness, really? For
yes.
the general?
Yeah, for
Oh,
the
wow.
voter registration, it's been in a freeze period.
Okay.
So we will start processing all those
I mean, it
voters.
just seemed like, yeah, that's quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So then,
Wonderful.
you know, we encourage everyone, of course, everybody who, you know, requested that their voter registration be updated during on election day.
Mhm.
We will go in after that freeze period and start updating your information. And then we'll start hammering away with media and trying to educate all those voters that, hey, your name's changed. If you have moved, go ahead and get that updated.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot easier to get it updated and go to your correct precinct than, to get there and fill out paperwork. And so we encourage everybody, because that database is 24/7. It is nurtured. So, we just want everybody to be completely informed about that. But no, we start gearing up for the general.
There's really, I know.
There's no
really-
downtime.
There's no downtime, and it's a lot of work, and your team, I mean, how proud are you
Oh
of
my
your
gosh.
team? Let's brag on them for a
Oh,
minute.
I love it. And my election mechanics, Tony Moranto and Mark
Yeah,
Marshall,
yeah.
I actually went boots on the ground with them. Started yesterday morning at 6, and we started hammering away, delivering all the equipment to all the polling locations, setting everything up because it was new equipment, the new EPO books. We had to make sure we had signals. So I got to tag along with them.
That's wonderful.
So,
No, that's
I
great.
probably
Yeah.
drove them a little bit crazy. They'll probably tell you that, but no. So that's a lot of hard work to set those polling locations.
Absolutely, and to make sure it's done right, and we are very thankful that you did this and did that and made it a little easier for us, made it very simple, and I said you pretty well spoon-fed everyone that wanted to do early voting, you know what I mean? If you wanted to do early voting, I mean, Stephanie, you had it open on Saturdays, I mean, you've had it open, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Extra hours, I mean, you've
Right.
really worked hard to not let anyone miss out on voting.
Yeah, there are 28 days of early voting. There are, mail-in. We have 2 early Saturdays that you can come and vote from the 2 Saturdays prior to the election. So there are no excuses in my book to not cast your ballot and get your voice heard.
Right, exactly.
You don't vote, you can't gripe.
Love that, and if you want that
See,
opportunity,
Where'd you hear that before?
yeah. Well, Stephanie, congratulations on another great election. Thank you for making it easy for us too. You took good care of us. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And again, everyone, it'll be fall before long. So,
Yes.
So
Yes,
yeah,
it will be. So everybody try to get a little bit of sleep.
Yeah. And you get a little sleep, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie,
Thank
Rocky.
you.
Thank you. And and I think we have our sheriff and reelected as of and unofficially. But congratulations,
Thank you.
Brett Miller. And Brett, what's the day been like for you?
Well, it's been a very long day. And, I'll be honest with you, this kind of blows me away. I wasn't really expecting this, to be honest with you. And, it's been a privilege and an honor to serve the citizens of Washington County. And this has been very humbling.
Well, and I think you have to realize, winning is fantastic, but we've seen, every event that you've been at, and of course today, your family and your friends have come out and supported you. That right there is a very rich man to have that.
Absolutely. I've got a lot of people to thank, all my supporters, all the voters and everybody that helped me at the precincts and everything. There's been a lot of hard work that went into this, and I can't, take credit for this all by myself, because there's a lot of help from other people and things. And so again, like I said, I didn't know how the day was going to turn out, to be honest. And I felt like, I would come out with the win at the end of the day, because I had a lot of people telling me that I would win this, but I didn't know that I would win by that kind of a margin. And that's why I said, it's very humbling. It, I guess, shows that, people do have faith in the sheriff's department and the way we run things up here. And I just want to say that, we're going to continue to keep working, through the rest of the year, into the November election, try to win out the November election so that we can serve another 4 years. There's a lot of things that I'd like to continue to do with the sheriff's department, to try to modernize the department and move forward, and retain our excellent officers that we're hiring and things. And, I realize that I didn't have everyone's support, and I understand that, and the people that didn't support me, I'd like to try to work to gain their support in November. It's kind of like I told some people the other day when I was talking to one of the councilmen, and he was saying, if you ever stop learning, you need to get out of the job. And I said, I agree with that. In this business, you learn something every day as the sheriff, and there's a lot to learn. There's a huge learning curve here, and they told us at sheriff school, you got to hit the ground running that first 4 years because it will go by so quick, and then next thing you know, you're running for re-election, and if you don't get re-elected, you're done. If you do get re-elected, then you're off and running again for the next 4 years to continue, to make the difference, to change things and to move forward. And I still got quite a few things I'd like to do to move forward. I'd like to leave the sheriff's department in a better place than the way I found it. And again, I'd like to serve the citizens of Washington County for another 4 years and continue making a difference, and to try to groom some of my officers into being leaders that can pick up and lead the department when I'm gone.
Right. Well, and I think that that first 4 years, of course, you've had a lot going on, during COVID, and then trying to learn, no matter what, we talked about this tonight, any position, any when you're elected official, you can do every homework, everything that you think and be as prepared as you possibly, and we all support that. You should be, but until you actually get in that position, you do not know everything, right?
Absolutely. I said when I took over sheriff in my first term, I had 29 years on as a full-time law enforcement officer, and again, I thought I knew pretty much what to expect, and I did for the most part, but I soon found out that there was a whole lot about this business that I didn't know. Even with 29 years experience, there was a lot of things I had to learn this first 4 years, and I'm still learning every day. And again, it doesn't matter how good an organization may or may not be running, there will always be room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that there's plenty of room for improvement here at the Sheriff's Department, and that's what I want to do, is continue to work with my staff to move forward and to make the department a better department, to improve our relationship with the public, to be more transparent with the public, to gain their respect. That's just something that's missing in today's society, between law enforcement and in the communities, the lack of trust and the lack of respect. And I'd like to try to improve on those things, with our department and the public in the next 4 years.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I was gonna, you said that you weren't expecting this margin. Do you think that margin, and you talked about the word trust, do you think that margin kind of correlates with that there's maybe, you didn't know it, but there's a lot more people out there that when they had the decision to be made, then they said, Britt Miller is the one that I trust to move this forward and to represent me as, in this office.
Absolutely. I believe that, there's a lot more people out there that think that we are doing the right things and moving in the right direction and trying. Because like I said, as a sheriff, I've made mistakes. I try to learn from my mistakes, and I think that moving forward, there's just a lot of room for the Sheriff's Department to continue to grow and to do the things that I said, by trying to gain the respect of the community, to be more transparent, and to try to be a good sheriff to the citizens. And I've always tried to do the right thing. And one of the judges told me one time, he said, Brett, don't change what you've been doing. Do the same thing you've done your entire career, and you'll be just fine. You've been a good officer your whole career. Everybody knows that. And don't try to be somebody different just because you're running for office. And so I've tried to be true to myself. I've tried to be fair and consistent in my policies and things at the department, and it makes the job a whole lot easier when you are fair and consistent with things.
Definitely.
Well, I'm sorry. So you're a relationship builder, and that's how you were. I mean, that's my perception of how you do your job. And, you'll hear more negative things about our sheriff than positive all the time. But do you think that relationship building is what will help make your office and you build more trust and respect and everything in the community going forward?
Absolutely.
I mean, that approach, because that's worked for you.
Absolutely, Brad. And, I think that's important. And when I was on Coffee Club the other day and things, and through my reelect Britt Miller for Sheriff Facebook page, you look at my accomplishments and things. A lot of the word partnered in there is in there a lot, because I partnered with the Salem Police Department. I partnered with Walmart. I partnered with St. Vincent, Ascension. I partnered with all these different organizations and things to make the department a better department and to help the community. And I think that's important, to partner with these people. And, and kind of like I've said too before, I think the citizens deserve to have a sheriff, that truly cares about the citizens of Washington County. And I do, not to say that the other candidates
Right.
don't, but I do. And Washington County has been very good to me and my family.
Mhm.
And I think it's important, as the sheriff, to give back to your community. And I've always tried to do that even well before I was ever the sheriff. And I'm going to continue to do that. That's who I am, and my family believes that as well, and my family helps and likes to volunteer in the community and things. And again, to build that relationship with the community, I think that those are things that are important. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
we're going to continue to do those things.
Right. And as far as, let's talk about this, and this has been a big, a lot of people have talking about, you actually had went from, you had ran as Democrat and now you are running as Republican. You made the change, but can you go a little bit more on that? And it's been nice the way you've been received well on this, obviously.
I have been received very well on this, and I didn't know how people would take me changing parties. And it started very early on in my first term as the sheriff. I hate to say this because it seems like everybody that changes the party says this. I didn't leave the party left me. And that's pretty much how things did go, for the most part. I didn't necessarily agree with the things. And for those of you who know Bobby Beasley out there, he's a good friend of mine. We do business with them with show goats and show feed. And Bobby told me during the last election, he said, Brent, the things you stand for are Republican. You're really a Republican.
Yeah.
And a lot of Republicans knew that. And the Republicans switched over and supported me in the last election and helped to get me elected in my first term. And so starting off into my term here as sheriff, my first term, to defund the police. The police are a very important part of society and things, and you have to have police. And you look at those cities and places that are defunding the police and things, and their crime rates are going through the roof and things. And I felt like it was the thing for me to do. Also, I stand for the Second Amendment too. I mean, I'm a member of the NRA. If you're a law-abiding citizen, I don't have a problem with you owning guns and ammunition, and you don't have to worry about Brent coming to take your guns and ammunition. If you're a criminal, that's a different story. If you're a criminal and you're breaking the law, then you probably ought to worry about me, because I will come and take your things if I get the opportunity to do that. But law-abiding citizens have a right to protect themselves. I believe that if more citizens did arm themselves, we'd have a whole lot less stuff going on out there, because the one thing to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And again, there's just a lot of things that made me want to change parties, and I didn't know how the Republican Party would take that. And I started off by talking to several different elected officials in the Republican Party to test the water to see, and everybody that I spoke to said, that sounded like a great idea to them, and they were supporting me in it. And I went and talked to the Republican Party and explained to them why I wanted to change parties and things. And they're like, well, we'd like to talk to some other members of the party and see how everybody feels about this before we make a decision on that, which I totally understood that. And then the Republican Party welcomed me with open arms. And the Republican Party has been very good. I know that I've disappointed some Democrats. I've had some Democrat friends that told me, Brent, not very happy with you, but at the end of the day, we'll probably still vote for you anyway.
No, they
And
don't. Well,
so
yeah,
again,
yeah.
that tells me that they, because that's me and that's who I am anyway.
Mhm.
I believe in voting for the right man for the job. It doesn't matter what party that man belongs to.
Right.
And that's got me in trouble in some hot water before with some staunch Democrats or staunch Republicans, because they want you to stay on the party lines and things. But I believe at the local level, you have to support the right man for the job. And that's kind of like my slogan, the right experience, the right choice. I think I do have the right experience, and I think that does make me the right choice. Because again, at the end of this year, I'll have 33 years total experience at the Sheriff's Department, counting my years as a jailer. I've worked under 5 different sheriff administrations. I think that I represent a little bit of each one of those people, from John Agan to Jim Watson to Claude Combs to Roger Lyles and Roger Newland. I don't want to be specifically like any one of those sheriffs, but I think I represent a little bit of each one of those guys. and they have all taught me something. You know, I've gotten to see the things that I thought worked or didn't work, and now I want a chance to be my own sheriff. And that's what I'm
Right.
trying to do, is
Yeah.
be my own sheriff, leave my own legacy, and
Right.
run the things the way I think it needs to be run. And I understand that we're not always going to agree on everything. Sometimes we're going to have to agree to disagree on things.
Right.
But again, at the end of the day, the sheriff's department isn't really a business, but yet I run it like a business, because it is a business, and I run it like I would if it were my business, because I'm a taxpayer too. And at the end of the day, I want to put money back in the general fund. I think that we should be responsible. I'm responsible for a large budget, and again, I work hard at trying to keep the overtime down at the sheriff's department and things. But at the same token, at the end of the day, we have to provide security for the people of the 7th largest county in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
And that's not easy to do sometimes when you don't have the number of officers. But partnering with the county council this past year, public safety is very important to the county council. It's very important to me. We partnered together on this to hire 3 additional officers on the sheriff's department. The last one's getting ready to graduate here in about a week and a half. And I'm excited to get to a full staff so that we can see what we can do with 3 additional officers on our department, see what kind of a difference we can make. I know we can make a difference. I know we can make Washington County a safer place, for you to raise your family and for me to raise my family. Like I said, I want the same things everybody else wants. I want the safest community that we can live in, and our school safety and things are important. But the young people in the community are important to me, and they're going to continue to be important to me. And we're going to continue to work with the schools to make our schools a safer place, and partner with other emergency services and things, and we're going to move forward.
Absolutely. So today, you were out and about in the weather, the rain, the sunshine.
Yeah.
And did you hit all the different areas, all the different precincts, or?
Actually, I did not. I should have, but I did not. I focused primarily in Washington 1, 2, 3, and 4. I had some very good poll workers for me working at the Armory. My family helped me at a lot of the polls. And I had a lot of good friends and supporters that helped me at the other polls throughout the county and stuff. But I will say this, the polls where I was at, we did work the people today, and I think that my workers did a good job working the people at the other polls and things. And it's, like I said, again, it's humbling to get this kind of support from the public when you just don't know how well you're going to be received. Because I had some people that let me know that they weren't happy with me as a Democrat, and had some people let me know they weren't happy with me as a Republican. And I get that.
Yeah,
I understand.
Sure.
But again, at the end of the day, I think it's about choosing the right guy for the job. And I think my record reflects how I've led the department. And I didn't want people to take my word for it. I wanted them to talk to the people that work with me and my opponents, because we've all 3 worked together throughout our careers, and what better people to judge us on how well we've done our job than the people that work with us, such as the other law enforcement officers in the community, or jail staff, or people in the courts, or the clerk's office, the prosecutor's office, the public defender's office, because I think I've got a very good working relationship with all of those different people, and I think that's important. You've got to have a sheriff that can work with the commissioners and can work with the council and work with the judges and the prosecutor, to make the system work. It works so much better like a well-oiled machine when everybody works together. And I appreciate that relationship that I have with these other different departments and things like that. And I worry about that anytime there is an election, in case, you lose a couple of spokes in that wheel, then the wheel doesn't turn so smoothly anymore.
Right.
I will say that I really think that Washington County does have a good criminal justice system from the top to the bottom, from the public defenders, the defense attorneys, to the prosecutor, to the judges, to the courts, to probation, everybody in the system. I really do. And again, I want to continue to work with that great people, even though I know some people are going to change positions.
That's what we were talking about.
Election. But I think, that Washington County will be sitting in a pretty good position to move forward. And again, I think the Sheriff's Department, we're getting ourselves positioned to be able to meet the needs of the people of Washington County, and I look forward to the challenge.
Right. So you got up at 5 o'clock this morning, 4:30, or what time?
It was actually a long night for me, because I got called out to work last night, and I didn't get back in until about about 3:30. There was about 45 minutes of sleep there, and then back up and out on the road again. So it's been a long day, and I'm tired. I'm looking forward to kind of winding down tonight, to be honest with you. But
Well, it's the look that I told you that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
You know, you completely wore out. You know, you put 100 in, and that's something, you know, you have to do. You put 100% in it, and you know, then you go, and when the polls close at 6, you have to just give it to God and see where it goes.
absolutely, you know, I being a Christian man, I believe that. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I believe that, you know, if it was His will, if it was God's will for me to lead the sheriff's department for another 4 years, that He would put me in a position to do that. And I believe that's what I've been called to do, is lead the sheriff's department for another 4 years, and that's what I intend to do.
So is your head already turning about all those great things you want to do in the next 4 years?
Well, I you know, there was a lot of things hinged on the election and whether I get the opportunity to do some of those things or not. And I go to the sheriff's conferences around the state a couple times a year. I really think that's important to do that and network with other sheriffs and learn from them, because I really learned a lot at this last sheriff conference up there. You know, mental health is a huge issue.
We're so
I
glad
talk
to hear
about that all
yeah.
the time.
No, and you need to. We need
And
to. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we don't have help for that, and all the sheriffs across the state will tell you that, you know, we feel helpless. But the lieutenant governor promised us that there's help coming down the line for
Love
us. And something else that got brought out at this sheriff conference this winter was about mental health of your police officers and your dispatchers. And I hadn't really thought about that, you know, until we had that training on that. You know, that repeated exposure to trauma also creates mental health issues for our officers and our dispatchers, and we have to take care of those people as well, you know, who get exposed to repeated trauma and things like that. And so, again, I see a big benefit in going to these sheriff conferences to try to bring things back and learn that, you know, we had some millennial training at that thing, and I kind of took a pinch to it when they told us that my generation was responsible for the millennials, and I didn't necessarily agree with that until after the psychiatrist and psychologist talked at length about it. I thought, you know, I started shaking my head. Yeah, they're okay. And I started to agree with that. You know, I think they're right that we did create some of these issues, but it's easier to understand.
I need your apology letter, triple space.
It's easier to understand how they think about things and the things that we have to do in order to take care of those officers, you know, with, they said more training, best equipment and things like that will make those people happy and get those people to stay and things. And so I think that's important. We've started doing that in the last 6 months, buying more equipment for our officers here on the department and training. Now that COVID is out of the way, we're starting to let our officers go to all kinds of training and things. So I think that's very important that we train those officers, you know, to be the best that they can be. And so again, I'm excited to, you know, because as I talked about at that forum that you had, Becky, you know, I kind of felt like I got robbed the last couple of years because of COVID, because we were closed. Because when I took over in 2019, I told the guys I want to be proactive and not reactive. Let's get out. Let's make a difference. Let's try to stop things before they happen. And then when COVID hit, we kind of had to pull back, and I had to tell my deputies that we have to be more reactive than proactive, and that didn't want to do that. You know, I want to be a proactive department. And so now we're back into that position again now, where we can swing the pendulum again the other way and be a proactive department rather than reactive, and get out and try to make a difference. Because I had several people talk to me at the polls today about different problems and problem areas and things, and I told them, you know, we'll get on those things, and we'll start trying to address some of these issues as soon as we get the last one through the academy, and we get a few more people in the department to help out with things. We're going to work on these problem areas and try to make our county a safer place.
Right. Well, congratulations, and
Thank you.
It's exciting, and we're excited to see it. Of course, so you're. Are you going to Disney World? We're asking anyway.
He's like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to first thing. Yeah.
He's got. If you could hear his phone going off, he's got about 3 hours worth of messages to return. You know?
Yeah.
It's going to take a while to return all this messages to everybody, and you know, it's.
So are you getting a good bit of a break though, and then because then you'll be gearing up, getting ready for the fall.
Yeah. Well, that's what I told my supporters out in the parking lot a while ago. You know, my family and friends and neighbors and stuff that helped us. I said, hey, we need to start focusing on November now. You know, and we need to continue to work, because you know, again, I had several people that kept telling me that you're going to be fine. You don't need to worry about this. And I said, that kind of attitude gets you beat. You know, you can't run like that. You have to run this race like, you know, you got to get every vote that you can get. And I will will say that me and my supporters have done a good job, and I owe it all to the voters, you know. The voters, came out today and they showed me that they have faith in me to lead the department, and I want to make them proud of the sheriff's department.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
So we're gonna hit the ground running for November now and try to win the November race, and then spend the next 4 years trying to make a difference here in the county.
Well, congratulations again, and exciting, and of course, these are the unofficial. We will have 10 days and then we'll have the official, but anyway, and I know those numbers probably meant a lot to you. I mean, to see that and how proud you are and how happy you are with that, and you know, you get up every morning, you do what you do, and you know, and a lot of times you're not realizing how valuable and what you mean, and when you see this and you see people come out and support you, that has to be a beautiful, feeling.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm sure I could speak for any political candidate that was out there in the parking lot earlier. I mean, anytime you put your name out there in the hat to run for something, it's like a roller coaster ride. Every single day, there's ups, there's downs, and different things. You know, it's just a whole world of emotions, and you know, and you hope in the end that it all pans out for you. You know, and it all comes full circle, and it did today. And you know, again, like I said, I wasn't expecting to win by that margin. And so it's, again, I said that's a humbling experience to find out that you got that many people that believe in you and the department, the things that you're doing. And for those people that don't believe, you know, that's my goal, is to try to work towards getting those people on board with us, you know, to be proud of the sheriff's department and what we're doing.
I think sometimes we get lost in the letter after the end of something, and you know, you went from a D to an R, but I think one thing that with this support that, you know, was shown, I think one thing that people today, when they voted for Brent Miller, probably voted for the man and the character and what he did, instead of that letter after
I believe that.
your name and the, you know, what your political affiliation is. And I think that's a thing that's a testament to the hard work, and I think that's so. Again, congratulations for that.
Brad, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brent Miller, congratulations, and so you got I guess a busy night ahead of you, or are you just gonna pretty well? Of course, you got a lot of people that answer.
Yeah, there's
Just say a blanket thank you to everyone.
Well, you know, that would be the easy thing to do, but I'm kind of a little bit different. I like to personally respond to each person. I typically do that a lot when I get a lot of messages at birthday time and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's just kind of something that I did that's very time consuming.
Yeah.
But yet I like doing those kind of
It's
things.
a good task, right?
It is definitely. So, and of course, we thank you and your family, and of course, I know they're wanting to probably party with you. I see them out there, and they're like, Becky, Brad, let go of them. Yeah, there's Marty. Hi, Marty, your beautiful wife, and so she's just ready. She's still chopping. They want you. They want to congratulate you. So we'll let you get out of here, Brent. But thank you for stopping by, and congratulations. And
Thank you.
we'll see. Can't wait to see your campaign trail to the fall, and then see further what your future holds.
Thank you, Becky. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and congratulations. All right,
Thank you.
Brad, we'll get you back here. Brett, go celebrate.
Go
Yay.
celebrate.
Go celebrate. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, and Brad, get in here,
Sorry.
and
Yeah.
big night tonight, right?
Big night. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
think it
I
was
gotta
great.
congratulate you on your numbers, man.
Well,
You were.
I tried
I-
to pull it together.
Well, I
but,
thought at first I thought we'll alternate them, but you were so good.
I just
You just made it look so easy,
got the
so
rhythm.
good.
I got
You did, yeah.
So,
So thank you for that, and all of the precincts are in, and we're gonna be home. Or we're leaving for
This isn't bad at all. This isn't bad at all. I mean,
We can do this.
we've been rolling in 11:45
Oh,
before,
man.
so this is great. But hats off to everybody, and even whether the outcome was what you wanted or what you didn't, you know, there's so many people and so many families affected, and did hard work, and just be proud of the hard work, and even if the outcome wasn't what you wanted, you know, just don't give up, and if you think you so it's just,
And I do want to say, Brad will be on tomorrow morning, Coffee
Hello.
Club, and we'll be having Education Wednesday. We're going to be featuring Salem,
Yes.
And we're going to have Matt Gorman with us, so you get us all cleaned up there. I'm sure. I was thinking I need to make sure I go clean the station real
Yeah.
quick. I can't
No,
compete with it.
that's part
I
of his,
can-
that's part of the interview.
Okay.
He's gonna give you tips.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
man.
you too.
Sorry,
You'll be with
sorry.
me. So.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe he can help us out here a little bit, But anyway, so a big morning tomorrow morning. And of course, we'll see if Brad will hit some of the highlights tomorrow with more reading tomorrow.
And I won't use the term I used last time, throw all the thumbs out. So I promise, that's just a joke. Because I did have somebody tell me that, they're just like, are you gonna say that on the rocket? No, I'm not.
Oh, we'll wait on the edge to find out what you'll say tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
but thank you for everyone tuning in on WSLM AM 1220 FM 97.9. Tuning in right here on Facebook. It's streaming, YouTube. So, exciting night for primary election 2022 or 2022.
2022, yeah.
Crazy. All right. May Day.
Yeah.
Don't forget the 4th tomorrow.
May the 4th
be with you tomorrow.
I may have a Darth Vader mask.
I know. Push the button.
Push
Push the button.
Wait.
Say goodbye.